sunsets and skies so blue. Mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. We know it all.
Welcome back, folks, to our now weekly refugee session. Thank you for joining us here. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania. This session has grown out of an abundance of need from people asking the same questions over and over and over and again. People who are desperate, people who are lazy, people who are curious, all kinds of people. And it wore thin on my regular viewers, and so I decided to create a weekly refugee session, which I'm going to talk about today. Let me just talk about the U.S. refugee program very quickly here. A lot of comments, even some comments today. I've seen them in previous conversations. Folks, this is not a jobs program. It is not an employment service. The U.S. refugee program is for people whose lives are in jeopardy, who suffer from grave risk of persecution in their homelands or who have been forced to flee their country because of conflict. So, if your interest in this is you want to live near the beach, or you want to, go where singles hang out, or you want to go family friendly, then you're barking up the wrong tree. The U.S. refugee program is for people whose lives are in jeopardy, whose very existence is at risk on a daily basis owing to whatever circumstances put them in that situation. But an awful lot of people have been treating this program, well, I'm not interested because, how much money am I going to get? Well, if your motivation to come to America is to get money from our pocket, then you're barking up the wrong tree. You should stay where you're at and, contribute to the demise of South Africa in whatever fashion you like there. But this is not for you, and you're not really welcome here if that's your objective here. If you are, however, are someone suffering from unjust racial discrimination, which has affected your ability to get employment, which has cost you jobs, which has cost you tenders and contracts, which has led to you being excluded from university or getting bursaries or living in a certain place or holding a government job or having been attacked because of your racial minority status, then you should consider the program. So how do we find out about the program? Well, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. You simply have a little bit of gumption and some common sense and go to the website that I've recommended at least 50,000 times in the past 4 months, za.usembassy.gov. And I will take you to that website right now for the 643 people who are here, most of whom have been here for a long time. So this is U.S. Embassy website in South Africa. It's the only place you can go. If a lawyer, if a person on YouTube, on Facebook especially, that's an evil platform, on Instagram, on any social media says, I can get you into the U.S., I can get you in line, I can get you, they're liars. They're fraudsters, they're scamsters. There is no need for an attorney. There is no use for an attorney. There's no function that an attorney or an advisor or a counselor or an immigration consultant can provide you whatsoever to participate in the refugee program. That is a scam. There's nothing they can do for you. Anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to you. They're lying to you. If you don't believe me, go to the U.S. Embassy website. Do a little common sense research, search on the web. It costs you nothing except your transport over. And if you don't have the funds, that's typically provided by the International Organization of Migration to come over. All right. So once again, it's not destination shopping. It's not a jobs program. We don't need you here. We don't need any South Africans here. If you think America needs you, you're vastly mistaken. That said, once you arrive here, you are expected to contribute, and we expect great things from you. But you're not needed here. We don't need people. This is the kindness of our hearts, the generosity of a great and wondrous nation that allows people to escape the persecution that they're suffering. So, where do you go? Right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the spot you go to, U.S. Embassy website. Refugee Admissions Program for South Africans. You click on that link right there, and it will take you to this page posted on the 12th of May, 2025. It explains the eligibility for this program. Then you have a statement of interest link down here, which will take you to a Google form. If you're one of the people who sent an email from the 10th of February, when they put up a notice, to the 12th of May, when this was published, to the PRM email address, and you're expecting a callback, don't hold your breath. You must fill out a statement of interest on a Google form. In that previous situation, because it was sent to an email server, they set it up for an automatic reply. So you received an email saying they had received your submission. You do not get that here, although some people show me a screen capture where it says you've submitted the form. That's all you get. So people need to pay attention and not focus on the trivial. I didn't get an email. Well, you didn't send an email. Why would you get an email from this site? You never sent one. You responded to a Google form, and you may have gotten a screen that said it's successfully submitted. Do a screen capture, print the screen out, whatever you want, and show that you've got it. That's all you're going to get. Why you think you'll get something else is beyond me. Apparently, technology is something a lot of people don't understand. So in order to be eligible for this program, you must be a South African national. You can't be a Zimbabwean. You can't be a Namibian. You can't be a Zambian. You can't be Taiwanese. You must have a South African passport and be a South African citizen. All right, pretty simple. Number two, you must be of Afrikaner ethnicity or a member of a racial minority in South Africa. In South Africa. Not in Ireland, not in New Zealand, not in Canada, in South Africa. Now, that can be nuanced because you may be living abroad in a temporary work situation or visiting or traveling, and you're not actually living abroad. Your abode, your home of record is in South Africa. That means you're in South Africa, okay? So it's a little nuanced, but you have to be in South Africa and must be able to articulate a past experience of persecution or fear of future persecution. Those are easy hurdles to overcome for folks. All right, so that's the criteria. So you go to the website. Let's go back to the website. You click on the statement of interest, which will take you to a Google form, and you fill it out. There it is. You put in your email address. You can edit this email address and change it. Make sure it's an email address you use. Because I'm on Google, it puts in this count for this email. Then you put your surname down here. Look, I look up Malema, Julius Malema. Anyway, so you fill it out, and then you submit it, okay? Here, these are reasons why. Past persecution based on race, past persecution on political opinion, past persecution based on membership of a particular social group, an Afrikaner or colored, or Indian, fear of future harm based on race, religion, nationality. There you go. And then you submit it. And then you are off and raced up to the races. That's it, folks. That's all there is. That's how you get applied for it. Now, there's a lot of questions about what do I get? What do I get? That's very frustrating for me to hear. What do you get? Well, you get to live. You get to escape, courtesy of the generosity of the Americans. And beyond that, why are you making decisions based on what you get? I don't think people in camps in Kenya are going, well, what are the Americans going to give me? Maybe I'll go to Canada. Maybe it's better there. No, they're just desperate to get out. So there you go, folks. There you go. Let's focus on that. All right, let me see. I'm looking for any questions in the chat before I continue. That is insane, but it's not unbelievable. Sad to say. I see no hope in getting a green card if I can't get to an unabridged birth certificate from my native country. Well, Sudafra Connor, many people from Zimbabwe who are now South African nationals don't have birth certificates because they were never issued. There are exceptions to every policy. So, if you're just going to live in doom and gloom because you can't get something, well, then don't bother applying. I would recommend applying. This is the thing that drives me nuts. I don't have this. I can't get this. I have to wait for this. So what are you waiting for? Apply. It asks whether you have a passport. That's the only thing it asks. That form says, do you have a passport? That's it. That's it. No, you say no. And you'll go apply for one. All right? Not hard. Colonel's waiting for us to get dry mouths and sore fingers before he talks to us. No, I'm not waiting on anything. I went live at 2 o'clock. You published that at 1:59. Your comment. I'm 63 on chronic meds. However, there's nothing going to stop me from using my skills and being productive. No free meals for me, says Vernon. Okay. Artie says, bring it on. We know Google is broken, so ask away. Google's not broken. Joey Nodier, welcome for your. Yep. All right. Does anyone know if Lenacia Home Affairs is okay? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, and that's a good question, Blue Meanie. Thank you for the super chat, Vanna. Juanita, welcome to you. Okay, my password only expires in 2027. Must apply for new passport. Your password? Do you mean passport? No. Why would you apply for a new passport in 2 years in advance? It's 2025. Why would you apply? I don't understand your question, Juan Coetzee. Why would you apply for a passport that doesn't expire for 2 years? You have a passport. If you get a statement of interest in this program and it takes 2 years for you to get out, well, then as you get closer to 2 years, you're going to have to get yourself a new passport. Consult a Sangoma. You have better hope for a green card, said someone other than the day. You can't go without it, but you will have to get it for the green card. Yes. Because of my health, I would love to get a remote job where I can work from home. Well, many people have remote jobs, but I'm not in favor of it. It reduces productivity immensely. Only a small number of the population are motivated, dedicated enough to do their job from home. Too many people waste their time sitting around watching movies, eating, feeding themselves, not doing their job at home. We've seen that with the massive decline in productivity and efficacy of U.S. business and especially of U.S. government during the COVID scam when people couldn't go to work. Sumantari Rao, I do hope the embassy understands my situation. Well, Sumantari, I have no idea what your situation is. I don't know what they're trying to understand. There's no way for you to communicate it to them. So how would they understand your situation? The statement of interest leaves no room for communicating your situation. So I do not understand. Okay. Lots of us will be on our own. So be it. Yep. You won't be on your own. See, that's a misnomer. Let me just correct that nonsense right now. You're not on your own. You're not on your own. Where Thea's at, she arrived with some other refugees, and a second group has arrived. Now a third group has arrived where Thea's at. These are all South African refugees in roughly the same geographic area, all within easy reach of each other, all able to lean on each other for moral support and for understanding. So beyond that, we had Herman on the program for an interview a couple days ago, and Herman is in a place where his refugee agent, assistant agent, is a former refugee who gets it from another country. And who's there to help. You're not on your own. Why do people think you're going to, okay, I don't understand this concept. Well, we're just, we're effed. We're just dumped here. How does that benefit anybody for the U.S. to bring you over here and just abandon you? That's why I was so angry about this story about this family supposedly not having phones, not having food, having been abandoned. There's some truth to that story, but I've sussed that story out. And there's a lot of BS that was told in that story. So you're not on your own. You're not alone. You're not abandoned. Stop the nonsense. Why do you make these false assumptions? Where do you come up with this nonsense? Where do people come up with this utter nonsense? I gave it half hour of my life to talk to that family that was outed by that scumbag there in South Africa, the one discredited former journalist, and by that lady on TikTok. A half hour of my life talk. I don't know who they are. I've never met them. They're living thousands of miles from me. But they were treated poorly and shabbily by those people on social media and by the media in South Africa, the South African included, and also by their agent. So I intervened. I don't know them. They don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything. You're not on your own. Stop that nonsense. I'm getting tired of hearing that from people. Hardly go out. It's a 1 hour walk to our mall, but I tend to order in most of my groceries despite ad delivery costs. The bus driver picked on you, Karen. Which meet greet did you come to, Karen? I don't remember which one it was. So next time, if we do a meet greet, if you're still there, we'll try to make sure you have transportation so you don't have to rely on a bus. Okay, so that was all before we even got started. So let me get back to where we're at now since we started. Gosh, I'm way behind in the chat here. Trying to answer your questions. Okay. What does that say? Yanni says, hello, South Africa's hero. Thank you. No more 50 public holidays. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're going to miss that, South Africa. No 50 public holidays here. Sandra says, let's see if I can learn something new from these never-ending questions. Okay. Suzanne, evening Colonel, question came up for older person. If you're unable to find employment, would you be covered by Social Security? It's a very complicated question, and it's very easy to find the answers if you take the time to research it. Supplemental Social Security income for non-citizens, Social Security Administration, Medicare, Medicaid. So that thing I just showed you, let me just point that out very quickly here. Some of this assistance is time limited. So come on, where is my screen at? I'm not finding my screen here. There it is. There you go. So supplemental security income for non-citizens. To be eligible for Social Security supplemental, you must be a non-citizen and fall on one of these categories, one of which is admitted as a refugee. And then you have these subcategories. You have to meet this too. None of these are correct. This statement is out of date. It does not include the full story. The full story includes much more. So let me find that. So, okay. You have to have proof of your status, which would be your I-94 arrival form, or your I-551. That's your green card, permanent lawful resident. You have to have that. So there was a story published in 2021 by Charlie Kirk in which he used data information. So the Austin American-Statesman, a leftist newspaper in Austin, Texas, ran a story here. And so they talk about, of course, they mentioned some correct things. A refugee is a legal status for people who come to the United States because they are fleeing wars or persecution in their homeland. In order to stay, refugees must apply for permanent resident status at 1 year after they arrive. Well, I think it's within a year, but whatever the case, doesn't matter. Many don't speak English and are unfamiliar with U.S. culture and norms when they arrive, so the U.S. offers some temporary assistance to help them adjust. The Department Reception and Placement Program at the State Department, they have sponsor benefits, including essential housing, food, and other basic necessities. There's a one-time payment of $2,275 per refugee that's provided to resettlement agencies. It doesn't go to the refugees. Some of that money can be used to pay for direct assistance of critical needs such as housing and food. They can buy food for you with that, $1,225. The rest can be used for case management services, cultural orientation, connect with employment services, and English language classes should you need them. Now, there are a slew of programs which I've covered in my videos, which people seem to have a difficult time finding. Can one of the mods please put up the Substack link, indabaafrica.substack.com. Please put that up there. You can pin it if you want. That Substack has a list of all my videos. And early in my videos I did in February, starting around the 10th of February, 3 days after this was announced, I started posting videos and I covered this refugee cash assistance and refugee medical assistance. There's also other benefits, all kinds of them. So we need to talk about that. There's all kinds of programs out there from states, from the federal government. Some are short-term, some are long-term. You need to not worry about what you're going to get, but worry about whether you want to leave or not. You're not going to be left hanging out here, okay? So, I mean, frankly, I'm puzzled by some of the questions people ask, like, will I get this, will I get that? Well, people are bitching and moaning. They're not getting any SASA grants, or your SASA grant's a joke anyway. It's $23. So you want to stay in South Africa and have your life at risk to get $23 a month that's reduced by inflation every month and doesn't buy anything, doesn't even buy airtime. Even if you come here, even if people are destitute and poor, get food stamps, which is thousands of times larger than your SASA grant just right there. So, it's very puzzling to me why anybody even questions or asks questions about what they're going to get. What you're going to get, even if you're unhappy with it, is infinitely larger than you're going to get anything from the South African government. I mean, I don't even understand the questions, honestly. I'm not trying to be combative. I'm not trying to say your questions are stupid. They're not stupid. I understand it, but why? Why would that? I don't get this. I'm a veteran. I didn't get this. Well, then why would you want to even ask that question, what you're going to get here? Would you be covered Social Security? Yes, under certain circumstances, Suzanne Mosley Walker, you're covered under certain circumstances, but it is time limited depending on the situation. So Social Security, here you go. So here, this is from the Social Security Administration. A simple search on the Social Security Administration will turn this up. I think it's people in South Africa think that Google doesn't work. unless you're asking for something in South Africa. Google works for the entire world. You want to ask about something in Farsi, you can find on Google. So let's get to this one here very quickly. There we go. So, spotlight on SSI benefits. Supplemental security income comes from Social Security. Under what circumstances may a non-citizen be eligible? A non-citizen, also called an alien, may be eligible for supplemental security income if he or she meets the requirements of the laws for non-citizens that went into effect on August 22nd, 1996. You must be a qualified alien and meet a condition that allows qualified aliens to get SSI. The problem is that this form that I showed you here is incorrect. This is what it shows you down here as people who qualify, but that is incorrect. That list is more expanded, and that's why I'm coming over to Social Security Administration. The Social Security Administration gives out conflicting information. That is incorrect. The correct information is here, okay? The non-citizen must meet all the other rules for eligibility, including limits on income and sources. If you have a job and make money, you're not going to get money from SSI, okay? Okay, 7 categories of qualified aliens, okay? All right? So, granted conditional entry under the Immigration Nationality Act, lawfully admitted as a permanent residence in, where's that here? Refugee admitted to the U.S. under Section 207 of the Immigration Nationality Act. That would apply to all South Africans. Number 4, that makes you a qualified alien to receive SSI. Then, what benefits can you get it? Well, there are 7 qualified alien categories listed above. You may be eligible if you also meet one of the following conditions. You were receiving it in 1996. None of you get that. You have work credits of 40 quarters. You don't have that because you haven't been working. You're currently on active duty. You don't get that. You were lawfully residing in the U.S. in 1996 and you're blind. No. You may receive SSI for a maximum of 7 years from the date DHS granted you immigration status in one of the following categories, and the status was granted within 7 years of filing for Social Security. A refugee under Section 207. So there you go. There you go. So you can qualify for it if you meet those 2 criteria, which would be the case. You'll get SSI. So how much is SSI? Well, that's a good question. It's not a whole lot. Okay? Okay, what else we got here? You need proof of your immigration status to get it. So how much do you get? How much is SSI? It's not a lot. How much? SSI payments. Okay. In 2025, the maximum monthly supplemental security income payment for an individual is $967. For a couple, it's $1,450. You may be lower depending on your income. So there you go. That's the maximum amount you can get. So $967. But South Africans keep converting things into rand. Stop. 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 You cannot compare. I can eat dinner in a nice restaurant in South Africa for 18 to 20 bucks. The same meal here is $70. Chantel Mayer, thank you for your membership. The same thing here is $70. You can't compare things, okay? Stop converting your rand to dollars. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, okay? So, but to convert that, that's almost 20,000 rand per month. 18,000 rand. How many of you are getting 18,000 rand right now? Is anybody getting 18,000 rand? Okay. How many of you are getting 15,000 rand that have no jobs and are desperate and are getting sausage grants? Who's getting 15,000 rand? None of you. None of you. So I don't know why these questions keep coming up, other than people just don't know. Okay, Suzanne, thank you for your question. It was a good question. I'm the embassy on speed dial. Call them every morning to hear if I can come for an interview. They know my number and I can put me on hold. Why are you wasting their time, Vernon? Why are you wasting our time calling the embassy? Their job isn't for you, Vernon. The embassy isn't processing refugees. Members of the PRM are doing it. Why are you calling the embassy? Please stop doing that. We have business to conduct in South Africa, which has nothing to do with refugees. The embassy is not there for refugees. They don't do refugees. Please stop doing that, Vernon. Please stop doing that. Arctic says you have to contribute 40 paychecks to Social Security for, no, for full coverage, yes, but not for SSI. That's different, Arctic. Tom Potgeeter says, Colonel White tops all. Thank you very much, Tom. Okay. Monza. Anxiety through the... Why do you have anxiety, Monza? What did you have on February 6th? That's a question I want to ask people, too. People are getting themselves all worked up here. And I get some rude comments from some jerk-off on my video I made a few days ago about, well, Colonel White, I guess you don't care about Afrikaners anymore. I guess you're not the voice of Afrikaners. Well, at least Trump still loves us. Hey, go off, buddy. That's what I got to say to you. My advice to people was go on with your lives. You may not like to hear that, but if you've done your statement of interest, what are you going to do? Sit around and get a heart attack, get high blood pressure, damage your arteries, worrying about something you have no control over whatsoever? You've done what is required of you. Now when you're called, do what's required of you. Then you can have anxiety, go for the interview. I got an interview scheduled for Friday. What are they going to ask me? Well, if you want to get your tension up, in the meantime, there's nothing you can do. Nothing. Calm, that's all you can do. Well, that's easier said than done. Yes, it is easier said than done. But it's also fantastic advice. Would you prefer I flip that around? Oh, you should be terrified. I mean, I would be worried. They're never going to call me. No fingernails left. What if when I was accused of this 25 years ago, Mike come back to haunt me? Oh my God, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, oh! What do you get accomplished by that? Nothing. You just get yourself worked up. Thank you, Dylan. It's a Western Province hoodie. Ann's Place. Welcome to you, Ann. Charles Carstens. Good evening to you. Rentia. Passport note, travel overseas. Passport has to be valid for 6 months. Note, you look at current passport. Patches, that's not necessarily a true statement. That's travel. Refugees, we don't know that it requires 6 months in your passport. They're not going to reject you for not having 6 months in your passport, especially if you're coming from a war-torn zone. We don't know that, Patches. We don't know that to be true. Sumentiri Rao says, my life is in danger being here in South Africa. Exactly. That's why then you want the refugee program. Anything good to contribute. That's why I'm so chuffed. It will be appreciated. Okay. Alan, how many strip clubs in Texas? None. My children are currently doing online schooling. Will they be able to continue this? Hera, we have homeschooling here. As far as online schooling, I'm not sure how that works in America, but we have the best homeschooling network on the planet, the best systems set up all over the country. Yeah, so my answer would be probably, yes. But why would you want your kids to be in online schooling? I presume they're in online schooling, Hera, in South Africa because it's dangerous or they're being denied education there. You're not going to be denied education in America. Why would you want to keep your kids in homeschooling or online schooling? I mean, it's your prerogative, but I'm just asking. But it's not free. Whereas here, it's freeload. You get the freeload. I pay the taxes so your kids can go to school. You can come here, you'll rent an apartment, you're not paying taxes. Homeowners pay taxes. I'm paying taxes. I have no children in school, and I'm paying thousands of dollars a year so urchins can go to school at my expense, as are all the other homeowners here, whether they have kids or not. So why don't you use the schools? The high school here is amazing. The outcomes are really good. The word refugee does not appear in your Social Security card. That's ridiculous. It doesn't appear in your passport anywhere for the public to see. Why are you concerned? Why are you concerned, Diane? There's nothing wrong with being a refugee. It's a status. If ANC is perhaps selling enriched... Okay, that's a different story. Natasha Liebtrau, welcome to you. Hey, Chris, this question. I'm curious, have you heard of any blacks being interviewed? No, I've not heard of any black South Africans who even expressed a statement of interest. None have contacted me, but Indians and coloreds have. Yep. Arctic, I disagree with your statement about anonymous. There are minorities. They are minorities. There are minorities who are black. Absolutely. Hope this is not a stupid question. Is there any way the agents do a check on your banking balances and your accounts? No. The agents, which agents are you talking about? The interview agents? They don't care about your debt in South Africa, about your banking, your finances. You're not being allowed to leave because your finances. You're being allowed to leave because your life is in jeopardy. However, if you owe a bunch of money to a bunch of people in South Africa, there is legal recourse for people to come after you once you're gone. But the United States doesn't care about your debt. That's not our issue. We care about saving your life. Darty, what's going on? Your green card expires. Been on... Huh? Your green card expires. Been on SA News now for 3 years already. First new ID card. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about, Patches. Marty says we need America. And Harris thanking Arctic, even though he gave wrong information. Vernon says, preach you, kind sir. Well, thank you. Very welcome. Honestly, if you were scammed trying to jump the queue, then you got what you paid for. We're all in the same boat. There you go, EMR. That's a fair statement there. If you have an expired passport, it's $600 to get a new one. Yeah, I've heard that, but then people say this, a new renewed passport is $1,200. I don't know, but it's $600, $1,200 rand. But I mean, 600 rand is $30. $30. My passport costs $180. And it took 7 weeks. Think about it like this, folks. If the U.S. sees a need to give minorities South African refuge, what do they know is coming to minorities? Good thoughts there, Side Offer Connor. Wish I'd check my bank because my credit rating is great. Maze, I don't think they'll care about that. All I want is leave here. Don't care where the U.S. places me, says Ian. Credit rating from South Africa, do not transfer, and you will start from scratch. Yep, we've told people that many, many times, Arctic, as have you. The U.S. Embassy does not handle refugee interviews. Please stop phoning them every day. You make our names unexplainably bad. Seriously, please stop phoning embassy every day. Wealth patches, that's exactly what I was telling Vernon. Yep. A new ID costs $140. Okay, I don't really care what ID costs. You don't need an ID. I was thinking it would be part of a security check. Money laundering, stuff like that. Days of Thunder, check your bank account. I get where you're coming from. No, don't worry about that. If you're a money launderer, we'll find out about it. Yeah, they do criminal checks. We do criminal background checks. That's why people are driving me nuts. They're like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 weeks and nobody's called me. Did the program stop? You do realize that we have to vet you. We have to make sure that you're legitimate, that you're who you say you are, that you're really at risk. You coming and giving an interview, telling us what you want to tell us, doesn't mean jack squat. I mean, the purpose of an interview for a refugee is to see if you're telling the truth. That's the purpose of it. You come in, we ask you questions, you answer them. We already have the answers to most of the questions, if not all of them. And then you answer the questions. And we, oh, well, liar, fucking liar, 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 liar. Disapproved. That's the purpose of the refugee interview. The refugee interview is not like, please, Miss Kruger, come in, sit down. Miss Kruger, could you tell us about your experience in South Africa? Where are you from? Well, I'm from Klatsch. Klatsch, okay. Well, what's it like there? Well, it's terrible. People are just abusing me because of my skin color. Miss Kruger, were you ever involved in the Vreda dairy farm? No, I wasn't there. I was in Klatsch, nowhere near the Vreda dairy farm. Interesting. We have information that says that you worked for the team running the Vreda dairy farm in the period that it's under investigation for the scandal involving hundreds of millions of rand. No, that wasn't me. That was another Miss Kruger. Well, thank you. Disapproved. Okay. All right. That's the purpose of the interview, folks. I'm being a little facetious here, but I think you get my point. Sumantari filled out the form. Now I'm waiting for a call. Exactly. That's what you have to do. Days of Thunder, you're not off the mark. They are going to check stuff like that. But we don't care about you owing 2.5 million rand to First National Bank, FNB, in South Africa because you bought land. That's not an issue for us. That's for you to sort out with First National Bank. We do care about the fact that you've been sending large amounts of cash, 100,000 rand, 200,000 rand, 50,000 rand, 100,000 rand to unknown recipients in places like Gaza. That we care about. Yeah, you don't need an ID card for South Africa. I don't know why people are freaking out about that. Wasting their time. People, please go Google a lot of the info here. It's free, and Google gun laws, grocery costs. Yep, it's all there. Paid 75 rand for my unabridged birth certificate. Well, that's a good deal. Is it real? Passport in 2 weeks, says Wes. I got mine 7 weeks from the American government. Such a crap thing. If I'm currently employed, well, why would you be employed, Justin? Is this the program for people who are unemployed? No, it's not. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at your question, Justin, but I mean, I do have to laugh a little bit at the question. Why would you being employed be an impediment to coming here? It doesn't make any sense. Venezuela, 14 rand. Biggest difficulty for us is patience. Yep. Johan van der Kolff, do you think South Africa has a chance to succeed? I think increasingly it's becoming more likely South Africa will collapse. Sadly, I don't want to say that. I don't want that to be the case. I love coming to South Africa. I love meeting South Africans. I love doing things with South Africans. But the ANC seems incapable of realizing what's going on. One encouraging sign is that since Israel attacked Iran to stop their nuclear program, the South African politicians have kept their cake holes shut. That's shocking and encouraging all at the same time. So I'm a little bit excited about that. Maybe they'll wake up, but I don't think they will. Will Ramaphosa still go to Canada? Is he there? Because Trump is there now. What do I need to be successful to apply for a green card if I'm lucky enough to be accepted in the program? Well, you have to be here. You have to not be a criminal. And the fact that you're a refugee means it's free. Other people pay for green cards. And the only thing you're going to have to do beyond that is apply and have a birth certificate normally. So. No, Francois Ruiz, I have covered that endlessly since January before there was a refugee program. You do not need the COVID scam jab to come to America. And you haven't needed it for a long time. Why the obsession with that? Why the obsession with it? However, that said, you must be vaccinated against a host of childhood diseases and vaccinations. Thank you, Banner, for the 14 rand. What's with all the 14 rand super chats, man? I answer the hardest questions. I get no super chat money. I just sit here and look pretty, and I get huge super chats. Now, on my other streams, you must be vaccinated against things like hepatitis, mumps, measles, rubella, basic common sense like that. If you don't have it, guess what? You're getting a jab. You don't want jab, you ain't coming. We have a responsibility, a legal, moral responsibility to only allow people in this country who are safe. And if you have not been vaccinated against an array of childhood diseases, we wind up with outbreaks of things like measles in Texas because of illegal aliens who Biden brought into the country, are spreading their pathogens all over the country. We're not going to do that with refugees. Either you get the jabs or you stay where you're at. Esther, I have sent email to you on your Yahoo account. Okay. What email, Esther? What are we talking about? I missed something. Pete Harps, thank you, sir. You're the best. If people want to listen to you, you go out of your way. I really do try to. Thank you, Pete. We got our passports and underway. Marley quit. I don't know where you guys are going to Home Affairs, but people need to go there. They need to go there. Okay. If you Apple for a passport, apply before it expires, they'll charge you $600 per year. Yeah, exactly. See, Arctic applied for one. Oof. On the statement of interest, I did say at the time I don't have one, but I did apply for it and receive it. No, Natasha. Didn't I answer that question for you yesterday or last time? You do not apply again. No. Do not do multiple statements of interest. You're just screwing stuff up. Arctic says no effing COVID vax. Exactly. We've only been telling people that for well over a year. Bennett, good day, sir. What's your recommendation state going over? There's no recommendation, Bennett. You don't get a saying where you go. You go where they send you, and I have no recommendation for you. I don't know where you're from, Bennett. I don't even know your first name. It just says Bennett. I don't know where you're going. I don't know where. Are you from Durban? Do you like the oppressive humidity of Durban? Well, then go to Florida. Are you from the Western Cape? Do you like the Mediterranean climate of the Western Cape? Then go to California. Thank you, Francois. 70 rand super chat. Appreciate it. Do you like the mountains like I do? If you like the Mahalisburg, you like the Drakensberg, then go to the Rockies or Appalachia. You're going to go where they send you. I have a friend I'm asking a question for. I have a friend who is mixed, half colored and half black over there into the program. Of course they qualify. Is he not a racial minority being colored? Why wouldn't he qualify? Please talk about, don't use that term. That's an insulting term. Black children adopted by white parents. Too black. Of course they qualify. No offense, man, but don't use the term. I don't like that term. This is insulting. Thank you, Varushka, for 70 rand. So about learning Africa, if the child is legally your child, it doesn't matter what their skin looks like. It's like being married to someone who's not a South African. If you are a South African national who is a racial minority, an Afrikaner, a colored, an Indian, and you're married to a black person, or you're married to someone from the Congo or someone from Taiwan, they're not going to break your family up. Your family's going to qualify because you're head of the household. You're the one being discriminated against. So your family's going to be able to come over. And if you happen to include adopted black children or colored children, Indian children, and you're white, they come with you. Piece of cake. Have you heard anything about the new interviews in Joe Berg? Is this an expansion or are they moving location? It's an expansion, Christian Peterze. They're still doing interviews in Pretoria, and they're doing them now in Joe Berg as of tomorrow. Yep. And somebody said you need an unabridged birth certificate for your green card. That's correct. Okay. Slim Slam. Okay, you guys offering advice here. I appreciate that, but make sure you're offering the correct advice here. I've already had to correct 3 or 4 comments here. So don't get an answer by someone in chat and disappear. Wait for my answer before you disappear, okay? Slim Slam 61. I didn't see your comment, but Alt says you can work immediately and apply within 1 year for a green card. That's correct. All right, well, asylum seekers aren't allowed to work, but refugees are expected to work. I read online that there is a free child care for kids over and above Medicare. There are programs, yes, Rachel, that's right, federal programs. There's lots of programs here. And so let me just run through that very quickly. So here's Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has its own programs, not just the federal programs. So Pennsylvania, Commonwealth Pennsylvania, good health is an important part of successful resettlement and adjustment to new life in the United States. From health problems they may have faced in their home countries to adjusting to new healthcare system in a foreign country, the many health challenges refugees face pose significant issues for both refugees and the communities they live in. The Refugee Health Program works with Commonwealth-selected medical providers to ensure that all refugees receive an initial health assessment to identify and treat health conditions or health-related issues that could get in the way of successful resettlement. The Refugee Health Program also works with statewide partners to develop and implement health promotion programs. that educate and empower refugees in taking charge of their own health. The program offers social work support to address common barriers to equitable health care encountered by newly arrived refugees. The support includes access to language services and connections to culture-responsive wellness resources. So there you go. There you go. And CHIP is what you're talking about. Okay, about CHIP. It's the Children's Health Insurance Program. It's Pennsylvania's program to provide health coverage to uninsured children or teens who are not eligible to enroll. But I don't know that CHIP is everywhere. CHIP history. Here we go. Let's go to that. On December 2nd, 1992, former Governor Casey signed into law CHIP, which is a Pennsylvania program, not a national program. So it doesn't help you elsewhere. Here is the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, a nonprofit organization that helps people in Texas, among other places. They were established in 2017 to promote health. And through medical screening, refugees and other eligible groups in Texas and Missouri get a comprehensive medical exam soon after arriving in the U.S. or when they're eligible. Yep. So, yeah, provides up to 12 months of health care coverage to certain non-citizens who are considered refugees under the Immigration Nationalization Act. Every state, thank you for the super chat there, Rudy Kotsia. Now we've gone from 14 to 70 Rand. That's interesting. Can we go to 5,000 Rand for the super chats? Yeah, so there's different processes in different states. There's also federal programs, okay? So this is the Office of Refugee Resettlement Program. This is from the State Department, or obviously the Health and Human Services, not State Department. As of April 30th, the Office of Refugee Resettlement provides time-limited cash and medical assistance to new arrivals, as well as support for case management, English as a foreign language, job readiness, employment services, all designed to facilitate refugees' successful transition to life in the U.S. and help them attain self-sufficiency. And there's another super chat coming in from Days of Thunder, 140 Rand. Ooh, Days of Thunder, up the game. We got 14 to 70, now 140. So health and well-being. Okay, medical screening, refugee medical assistance, refugee health promotion services for survivors of torture. Then employment. Look at this. So employer engagement, matching grant, refugee microenterprise development. There you go. People are asking about starting a business. There's one. Okay, integration, refugee agricultural partnership program, ethnic community service to older refugees. There you go. Youth orienteering, and unaccompanied minor refugees, because people have asked that question. We've got them. English, Burmese, Spanish, French, Haitian Creole, Kakaki, Kikichi, Quiche, Mam, Somali, Swahili, and Tigray. Yeah, there you go. Fact sheets in all those languages. So, microenterprise development promotes the economic integration of people eligible with loans, training, and technical assistance. Through the OR-funded grant programs, individuals who possess insufficient access and credit required by commercial lenders can receive loans up to $15,000 and participate in one-on-one trainings and workshops to strengthen business. Wow, $15,000 grant for a business. Agricultural program. Through this program, RAP, Refugee Agricultural Partnership Program, refugees who want to be farmers get training resources, including land for farming, food safety and nutrition, technical assistance, and the opportunity to work with other farmers. It's funded by state governments, county governments. Yeah, so look at that. Look at that. Services to the elderly. Services to older refugees fund states and state alternative programs to ensure refugees age 60 and older have access to applicable service for the aging and to provide qualifying refugees with appropriate services not available in the community. They are up to 5 years eligible for all programs. Services include access to senior community centers, supportive services, nutrition services, transportation, interpretation, translation, citizenship naturalization, home care, elder abuse prevention, and nursing home ombudsman services. Funding. They have set-aside programs. So there you go. Documentation requirements for the Refugee Resettlement Program. Okay. So anyway, that's not what we want to see there. So there you go. That's a whole bunch of stuff right there. Wonder if we need to go for interview for the Western Cape. Oh, of course, Retha. There's no interviews taking place in Western Cape right now, so you're going to have to go to Gauteng, at least until they change that. Okay. Danian Vitamin. I know, can Google, Colonel, please, could you talk a little bit about the equivalent of private security sector in the USA? Pretty please. What do you want to know about the private security sector, Damien? I don't understand that. We have ADT security, we have private security firms, but this isn't South Africa. I never see G4S. We don't have cash in transit heist. I've never seen a cash in transit heist in my life in America, but it happens all the time in South Africa. So I mean, do you want to work in the private security sector? There's jobs. I don't understand your question, Daniel. Please ask your question. Why can't you be alone? Says Yannicka. Some people need companionship, I guess. or something around it. Must we just send statement of interest just once? Correct, Elvis Moodley. Once. Stop jamming the system. People are wondering why it takes so long, because people are messing up. They have to waste people's time screening those things. Okay? It doesn't slow the program down, but it does take some people away that have to waste time doing that. Just like calling the embassy. Why are you calling the embassy? You have no business at the embassy. All our docs are in place. We're waiting patiently to listen to Colonel Chris. Thank you, Vanessa. Ends place. Anonymous colored is already half black, white, so she can't be halved again. Exactly. Greetings. Some of these questions are playing crazy. Do people have brains, Michael? That's a fair question. What if your very old parent who is a dependent is on a British passport? Well, altruism, the answer to that question is, do you have legal custody of that very old parent? Because of mental instability, mental incapacity, physical incapacity. If you are their caregiver and their legal guardian, then they can go with you regardless of the passport. If your elderly parent lives on their own and they have a British passport and they don't have a South African passport, they're not going anywhere. Possible question for the next interview. How are they adjusting to change from metric imperial system? Well, that's a good question, but there's no change, Christian. I don't know why. See, first off, let me rubbish your comment right there. There's no adjustment. There's no need to adjust. The only thing you have to adjust to is speed limits of the cars. But on your speedometer, it says kilometers. It has miles on the inside or outside and kilometers on the opposite side. So you don't need to adjust. This is Frappuccino. 9.5 fluid ounces, 281 milliliters. What adjustment are you making? It's right there, 281 milliliters. Piece of cake. 330 milliliters for a can of 12-ounce Coke. Yep. There's no adjustment. This includes total sugars, 32 grams. It's not even in standard American equivalent. It's in metric alone. It's not even. It's only listed in grams, not ounces. Justin wants to know what kind of questions get asked in interviews. Well, you must be very late to the program. We've only been talking about that for a very long time, Justin. Also provided a question list from a couple of interviews that were conducted, plus things we've adjusted from my background as an experienced federal investigator. So that's in the WhatsApp group, or in the Telegram group, those questions. I'll go post it again right now in the Telegram group for those who don't know. Let me see. Where's this thing at? So is it Refugee? Okay, let me see if I can find this. I forgot what I had to search for this before. Template. There it is. Okay, so there it is. Let me go to the Telegram group for refugees. U.S. There it is. 3,144 members. I'm going to post it again in there, even though I put it in there a bunch of times. If you want it, go join the group. Okay, there's the template. All right, so the link to that, for those who don't have it, very quickly is members. That's not what I want. I want to add people to it. Add people. There we go. Invite via link. Copy link. Close. 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 There we go. So you can join the Telegram group. If you don't have a Telegram group, go download Telegram. All right. There's the Telegram group right there. So you can join right there. All right. And then that list is in there right now. If it's not there because you just joined, then mention it before I go off air and I'll reload it. Okay. Once we get to the USA, will we be able to get in touch with the other 59ers? Well, I don't know how you would do that, mental chewing gum, unless you went through a group that they've created or through someone that knows them. I don't know how you would get in touch with them. Okay. Okay. Well, it's not just a question, are they dependent on you, Arctic, but you have legal guardianship of them. Okay. Because as South Africans, we are used to doing things around. No, you're not, Nick. No, you're not. No, I don't buy that for a heartbeat. I don't buy that for a heartbeat. I mean, the questions I get asked here are unbelievably dependent on other people. The lack of self-sufficiency in the questions I've been getting for the past 4 months about the refugee program are astounding. I keep hearing about how Afrikaners are so self-sufficient. Really? Maybe in 1838, maybe crossing Drakensberg, maybe fighting against the Ndebele, maybe, I don't know, but not today. Oh my gosh. Me, need, want, give. It's insane. I mean, for instance, you have no idea, Nick Gomez, or you have no idea the number of people that came in here in the chat in the past 3 months. Oh my gosh, I got 600 rand for a passport. Now, I'm not making fun of those people. I'm just telling you what it was. Oh, no money for passport. Help me, help me. I just got an email today. I have no money for passport. Can you pay for my passport? I'm not paying for your passport. Am I supposed to pay for 300,000 people's passports? I don't have that kind of money. So I have no money for passport. So first question is, have you sold anything? No. Okay. Do you have anything to sell? Yeah. Then why haven't you sold anything? Well, but, what do you mean but? What do you think you're going to take it with you? You going to take furniture with you? No. Okay. Have you made a backup buddy account? Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, then learn how to do that. Okay. I've got a lady who is on a farm who has a backup buddy thing, and I meant to make this thing for her. Now I got to find where it's at. She sent me an email so I could show it if you want to go help her out. Let me try to find that before we wrap this up. So, have you stood on a street corner and begged? No. Then you haven't taken steps or necessary. Then it's not that important. You don't really want to come. Oh, but I have dignity. Well, then die of dignity. I don't mean to be callous, but if the safety of your family is important and you don't have any money and you don't want to make steps legitimately, legally to get the money, then I mean it's really hard to have sympathy for people like that. And saying that we're used to getting things on our own, no, that isn't the case. I mean, look, if that was a one-off, Nicholas Gomez, if that was a one-off, then I'd be like, okay, it was one person. But hundreds of people have said that and sent me messages. It's insane. Okay, so good to hear, Thean. Everyone is doing well. Single person doing this. I'm glad there's a community. Exactly, Yanni. Exactly. Okay, where are we at here? Whoa, Stan Martz came in with a big one. I didn't see that. Hang on a second. Super chats are coming left and right here. Why is my alert box not coming up? Diagnosed as schizophrenic. Would this be a problem with applying refugee program? I don't think so, Vernon. Moved to Maine years ago due to discrimination. Our time here is coming to an end. We don't want to go back to South Africa and be discriminated against. But how did you move here, Snuggles? How did you move here and now you have to go back? I don't understand that. Did you come on some sort of work visa that was time limited? That doesn't make any sense to me. Did you have a 10-year permanent residency or something like that, or a 10-year visa to stay here? I don't understand. Well, Snuggles, if you're in Maine, you can fill out the statement of interest, but you're going to have to go to South Africa most likely to do the interviews. And if you're living here, you've changed your abode. So the situation sounds odd. I don't know how to answer that. Utopi, welcome to you. Expat, if you're approved for the refugee program, you get all the benefits. Yep. You missed a super chat earlier from Francois asking about the vetting process. I sure did. I didn't see any super chat from Francois. Well, let's go check it out. Thank you for the heads up on that. Super chats, Francois. Hi, Chris just said, Chris, do they run a background check before the interview? Yes, they do, Francois. Yes, they do. Thank you for the 70 Rand. They do run a background check. Yep. And they do further ones after you talk to them. 350 Rand super chat. Okay. Oh, gosh. That was from Len J. He said, Donkey. Well, you're very welcome, Len. 350 Rand super chat. And here I thought super chats were actually meant to be read and answered. Obviously, I was making, oh, well, bro, love, then you can leave. You can leave. You can actually leave. If your feelings are hurt, then I'm answering questions and I'm not giving you a priority, then, I'm sorry. You can go elsewhere. I do read the refugee the super chat, you snarky little toad. What is your deal there? Why are you being rude? Obviously, you were mistaken. Yeah, you were mistaken. So go elsewhere where, you can enjoy yourself. Interesting that you're whining about super chats, Brolo. I don't see one from you here. I don't see a super chat from you. So what are you whining about? Industrial door, fire door products will be a lot different than ours. Trainees. Not sure what we're talking about there. I cannot remember. Okay. Thank you for that. Popular on YouTube. Mustard olive coaching. If we applied and are called for an interview and my daughter and husband also applied, but no interview call, yet can we mention we have 2 more children that would like that? Okay. Your daughter and husband are not your children. So no. But yeah, mustard olive coaching. Yeah, I would mention you have other family members interested and they hadn't got a call yet. I would certainly mention that. But your daughter is married. That's not your child. She's an adult. So yeah, it's no. They're not your nuclear family. Not anymore. Up to 18, she was. Eyes of a scanned divorce decree will be accepted. I have no idea, Veronica. Battling the original. I hear you. Rudy says, can you kindly read my super chat? No, I can't. Can you wait? Rudy. I have no super chat from Rudy Cortia. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Sorry, Rudy. 70 Rand. Special needs child. Is there a program available, or will we be advised by his team on how our son will be accommodated? Okay, well, that really doesn't help me at all, Rudy. A special needs child. I don't know, and I don't ask you to disclose what's going on here. But, of course, we have special needs. We have the best special needs programs in the world over here. I don't know what this child's special needs is, whether your child has autism or they have multiple sclerosis or something like that. I would ask the question in the interview. If they know. And that would probably play a role in where you get settled. I mean, they're not going to put you in rural West Virginia where there's no services for kids with a special need, a certain type of special need. They're going to put you someplace where you can get those kind of things. Minneapolis with the Mayo Clinic is up there. So, yeah. Okay. People, quit freaking out about your super chats. I will answer every super chat. I mean, very impatient. I'm trying to get through and answer many people's questions, and instead of respecting the fact that I'm being considered as many people as possible, people are whining about the super chats. Not you, Rudy. You asked if I can answer, but the other gentleman was whining about super chats. Didn't even give a super chat. He's whining about it. My son has muscle disability, and he's going to normal school. They help me get in school for disabilities. No need to apologize for questions, folks. I have no idea what that disability is or how that works, but we have lots of, look, everywhere you live in America, we have programs for kids that have special needs and have physical disabilities. So I'm not sure how to answer your question, other than I suspect you'll be put in a place where you have the ability to access programs like that, because it's a fair question. Thank you for asking. I'm sure this may be asked, but if you put funds in your PayPal account and get your U.S. bank account, are there banks that allow you to withdraw from your PayPal? Yeah. I transfer money from my PayPal account to and from my PayPal account all the time. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Conrad. In fact, let me look at my PayPal right now. I haven't looked at it in ages. PayPal. Oh, it's probably going to make me do third proof of sign in. Yeah, let's see. Will it let me in? No. Oh, no. Oh, no, it let me in. Okay, my PayPal. It's just trying to get me to load the app. I don't want the app. I want to. Okay. All right. I received a payment from somebody. Who's that from? On June 2nd. Thank you, Johannes Hendrik Fischer. Yep. Okay. And Werner Kasselman also gave me one. Thank you very much for that. So, yeah, I have bank accounts and credit cards set up here. I can transfer money to my bank accounts and my credit cards. Just like that. Just like that, Conrad. Okay, there you go. Heard a rumor that if you drive a truck, you're called a trucker. Yeah. Zandri says, okay. Stan says, congratulations, Smash 100,000. Well, thank you, Stan Martz. 1,024 Rand. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we did that on June 4th, about 11 days ago. Thank you for that. Yes, you can pay from PayPal to US bank account. Exactly. Arctic answered the question as well. Okay, Colonel, don't you think doing a video call interviews would also be a good idea? Or do you? It doesn't matter what I think, Janine. It doesn't matter what I think. And also, I don't think video calls are a good idea. I don't. No, in person. You can only get the measure of a man by talking to him in person. As a law enforcement official, as an investigator, as an interrogator, I can tell you, you can only get the true measure of a man or a woman in person. And that's important for this program. So no, I don't think video calls are a good idea. No. Okay, it's not helping the embassy. Again, guys, stop with the embassy. It's Janine, sorry, it's not the embassy. The embassy isn't doing the interviews. It's like Varney claims he's calling the embassy. You're wasting your time and resources. The embassy is not doing it. The people may be working through the embassy. Like when I went to South Africa on temporary work, I worked either in the building at the embassy or worked elsewhere, and I was supported through the embassy. But the embassy doesn't handle this. They have a job. They have a day job, and they're focused on their day job. Simple as that. 1 kg, half pound, or 2.2 to be more precise. Okay. Okay, Vernon, thank you. Good evening, Chris. I'm admiring your patience with some of your followers. I would have used language not friendly. It's in your position. Well, and then I get attacked for, being rude or snarky or short with people. Whatever. I mean, you can't please everybody, Anthony. It's like the thing in the super chats. Oh, are you going to answer that? I thought super chats are supposed to get answered. I'm under no obligation to answer super chats, but I do it. I mean, I find it comical that people piss and moan about me addressing comments when I do more to address comments from more viewers, with thousands of people watch the program now, I go out of my way to answer questions. I still get snarky little whiny comments like that. It's unbelievable. Starbucks get it from Engine. Okay, Daniel. Superman Clark Kent has got his head up his ass. Well, everyone that has completed the statement be contacted. Vale, I have no idea. I think they have a moral obligation to do so if you're a legitimate application, legitimate statement of interest, but I don't know. I understand that, but isn't it possible to apply for FG program and sponsor yourself? Maybe it's better to... What do you mean sponsor yourself, expat, Joubert? What do you mean sponsor yourself? You can't sponsor yourself. How can you sponsor yourself? You're not an American. It doesn't work that way. You mean pay for your own way? Yeah, you can pay your own way. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know your question. I'm trying to answer. PH says, my son is 18 but still in school. Must he apply? Yes, he must apply as an adult, but I would put him on my statement of interest as a family member if I were you, PH. That's what I would do. And the odds are pretty good that he'll come with you. Okay? Reason for the question, sister stays in Australia and they will not give him a visa to visit her there. Well, that's terrible. Why? Because he has schizophrenia? Well, that's a visit, Vernon. They don't want trouble from a visitor. The United States is taking people's lives in jeopardy. To visit somebody, you don't get to visit a country because your life is in jeopardy. They can stop visitors. So I understand why Australia would do that. Trying to get Telegram with no success. Don't receive an SMS code. Oh, that sucks, Ghost Phantom. Off the bed to figure out what dairy farm I worked on that wasn't aware of. Golda Kruger. I did say Miss Kruger, didn't I? That's funny. Rita Uman says, thanks for everything. You're welcome. The best one I saw was the Underbridge certificate, although it's not so funny. English is not our first language. We can't wait to be the real folks. It's crazy tonight, says Yana. Nah, it's not too bad. Sorry for asking this question again, but if I'm a member of Greenpeace, will that affect my chances? Quids, we're not going to let you come just because you're Quids. Expat family, everyone is sponsoring themselves. Some just get interest-free loan from airlines. Others can pay up front for airfare. Yep. You guys can't use that term sponsor. You're not sponsoring anything. You're not a sponsor. You have no legal authority in America. You have no justification to be here. You're not an American citizen. You're not a permanent green card holder. You're not sponsoring anybody. Sponsors is a legal term that applies on this side when you arrive. Please don't misuse the terms. Tuesday, I'm off to the principal of Jordan's school. I'm now sick and tired of the racial attacks of my grandchild. Nobody. Oh, my goodness. Seriously, Retha? Tell Jordan I said hello, okay? Yeah. Can't you get him another school? Danian, apologies. I'd like to know if there's security companies that would be able to apply to as soon as my career for the last 12 years. Yeah, there are security companies. There's lots of them, Danian. But, I mean, I don't know where you're going. So the country has 330 million people. We have 200 million jobs in this country, 178 million jobs. I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant, but, I mean, there are security companies. What do you want me to do? Tell you to search for one in Nashua, New Hampshire? Well, let's do that. Nashua, New Hampshire. Let's go there. Private security firms. You see, you already firms. Nashua, New Hampshire. Let's see what we get. Central Guard Security Services, 5.0 rating. Critical Incident Management Security, and the Allied Barton Security Services, Nashua, New Hampshire. 7 years in business, one says. So, I mean, what value added is this? There's 3 of them. Let's go to their website, okay? Here we go. Let's go to their website and see what they're all about, okay? But, I mean, what's the value of, I mean, I understand your questions. What, do you think America doesn't have private security? I don't understand that question. Oh, verifying that you're human. Okay, here you go. Central Guard Security Services, private security guard company, okay? They work at HM, Macy's, Oracle, Southern New Hampshire University, Walmart, Autodesk. Okay, we are contact, request a quote, security services, home, who we are. Okay, areas we serve, frequently asked questions. It doesn't have anything about jobs here. Okay, how do you price your services? What type of background checks is provided on your security guards? Extensive internal investigation prior to employment. Nationwide database search. Okay, criminal databases. Okay, that's that one. Oh, what's this? My browser. Okay, so that one's messed up. I can't even go there. Anyway, so I don't understand. I'm trying to answer your question as best I can. Danian, but I don't understand your question. Unless you know where you're going, what's the point? There are probably hundreds of thousands of security services in America. Are you asking, are your skills transferable? Many of them are, but you're going to have to go through background checks. You're going to have to get qualifications. So, I mean, every company's different. Good night, Kali. You made a plan to sort out passports, literally. Do all the states have schools in education? Yes, Adam. We have programs for autistic children everywhere. Why would we not have them somewhere? Yeah, local requirements. RD2 City have to comply with local requirements. Can't believe how people want to beg from you, Colonel. Bad enough. Oh, no, I get a lot of people begging, man. I get a lot of people begging. People asking me to put stuff on here all the time. All the time. Alan McGonigal said, thank you for everything you do. You are awesome, amazing. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate that. We sold things to get money for passports. Okay? That's what people do. Okay. Okay, gosh, I'm way behind here. Okay, my wife is paranoid that we'll not be able to get work as we don't have university degrees. As we do have university degrees, only a diploma. Not able to get work as we do have university degrees. That doesn't make any sense. Only a diploma is she in accounting and myself in operations. I have told we will get work. Chaos Gallagher, I have no idea what you're saying. Are you trying to say that you're concerned you can't get work because you don't have university degrees? Most jobs don't require university degrees. Okay, guys, I don't understand this. We have 4% unemployment. 4% unemployment nationwide. Montana's 2.7%. How can you not find a job? Daniel, I'm not sure if you've had this F4. I'm so sorry. I understand that one will have to cover their debt. I'm not an expert on taxes, how that works. I don't know the tax agreements in South Africa. I'm not an expert on that. You can ask Arctic. Arctic earns income in this country. I don't think he pays taxes in South Africa. You're still a citizen in South Africa. So it's a good question, Daniel. I had a financial advisor on here, but a scumbag hate wanker threatened their business, and so they backed out and didn't come on the program. So I really can't, there's not much I can tell you about that. I wouldn't worry about it. Anthony Michael says, if it is that we're still here in Nelsprut with your next visit, your stay in Restaurant Orange will be our pleasure. Well, thank you, Anthony. Thank you for that offer. Yeah, definitely Nelsprut is on the agenda for next time. Bormach and plan, 5 passports, 2 birth certificates, 3 IDs, 7 mandatory, what's this? Okay. ADTs in Florida. ADTs everywhere. Chaos, you can walk into a post office and get a decent job while being stoned. Jobs are not, exactly, it's not an issue. What about starting a training center for welding and work for power tools, fabricating, molding, spray? You want to start a training center, Anime? Well, then ask for the $15,000 to start it, but you're not going to have enough money to buy all the equipment. In South Africa, you cannot be a guardian of a living parent. Well, I don't know. How is that possibly true? That doesn't make any sense, altruism. You're telling me that if you have a parent who has dementia, can't fend for themselves, they're just left to die, you can't make life decisions for them? That doesn't make any sense. I can't believe that's true. Can't believe that's true. Had to sell almost everything I had with the exception of my car, says the Vale. We were eating pop and grass this month, but our passports are paid for and booked. Well, I'm sorry to hear you're eating pop. Ugh, it's terrible. 110 electricity, but the tumble dry cycler's 240. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Not true. North America has been running combined 210, which for 40 years. South supports both, but I don't know what you guys are talking about there. You're worried about the voltage? You guys are worried about voltage? I guess your lives aren't in jeopardy here. Seriously. Burmeister made a plan. Papers ready. Antoinette. All right. Suitcase ready. Yeah, people are running out of suitcases all over South Africa. Pearl Vitboy, 140. Thank you for your time and input. You're very welcome, Pearl. Thank you for that. I'm already starting to sell stuff in my house and will be selling my stock in baby bales. Cash. Okay. I've been teaching a few people as laughter yoga leaders to get money for my passport. Well, there you go, Heinrich. Interesting. Do you need 4 copies of every document? I have no idea, Mariki. Why would you need that for an interview? I don't know that you need that for an interview. Where did you get that information from? Middle East is only tempo, 1-year visa as long as you have a job. Have to go home when you lose it. Where in the Middle East? There's a lot of countries in the Middle East. They don't all have the same rules. Do you only need your social card to be able to start your own business? I don't know what a social card is. You mean social security number? You have to have a social security number to do anything in America. Without that, you can't do anything. LBR, thank you for everything you do. You're welcome, LBR. Mia, if you're serious and desperate, you make a plan to get the passport. No one owes anyone anything. Yeah, Mariki, who told you that? I know. I never heard of that article. I don't know where she's getting it from. If you're in Maine, stay and contact Refugee. Do not file a statement and fly back. They might ask you to. Okay, anime. No, stop right there. I'm not. No, do not offer that advice from Professor G. If people want to contact him and listen to what he has to say, people are leaving here all the time who are farmers who have been here on H-2A visas, have gone back to South Africa, and while they're back to the program opened up, they applied, and they've been into the program. So, oh gosh. Virtually all asylum cases are denied. When you go to an asylum court, which is what that advice is telling you to do, when you go to the asylum court, you are in an antagonistic position. The judge is not even a legal scholar in many cases. It could be me. And you're considered guilty. You're considered not having a valid case. You must prove your case. And not beyond a reasonable doubt. You must prove it flat out. That's why almost all asylum cases are denied. And what happens to people with asylum cases? They're not allowed to work legally. The Biden administration violated that law and got away with it for a while, but not anymore. So I'm going to disagree with that advice if that's what he said. I'm not going to agree with it. We have no evidence that that's true. No evidence. But we do have evidence of people who overstay their visas are illegal and will be kicked out. We do have evidence that most people apply for asylum are denied. Do you think that a 3% chance is worth staying here? I don't. Go back to South Africa. That's my advice. There's no interview with Refugee tonight. Where'd you get that from, JP Human? I never said there's an interview with Refugee tonight. I said that last night Thea was going to come on the program, but she said between 4 and 8, and it turns out that she was still working at 9 o'clock last night. So that's 3 o'clock in the morning. And so please repeat that about being a different country. Does one have to go back there to say for an interview? Yes. Yes, RSA. We don't do interviews. We don't have a refugee program for South Africans in Ireland or Dubai or the United States or Mexico or Panama. You're in a safe haven. I'm even shocked that the statement of interest asks if you're outside the country. I don't know why, because legally you're not even allowed to apply for it, but apparently they're making exceptions here. I don't know the answer on that. We'll have to wait till we find somebody that was in Italy who applied, flew back to South Africa, got accepted, and came to America. But I don't know of anybody that's happened to yet, so we have to wait and see. But that doesn't preclude you from filling out a statement of interest, especially if you're just on a temporary work visa. Do it. You still need a divorce order. I don't know. You need a divorce order. You need divorce paperwork. Every marriage, every time you've been married, you have to have the paperwork. Yep. If you've been married 5 times, you've got 4 practice spouses, then you have to have a divorce decree from or force, whatever the paperwork is, whatever you call it in South Africa, for 4 times. You got to have it. Most electric devices can operate. Yes, most can, but not all. Why do you keep asking the same question in the previous chats? I've seen you ask the same question more than a month now. Exactly, Patches. That's a good point. When in Rome, do you like the Romans? That's a good point, Brendan. Okay, Chris, another person paid. You missed that too. I got to it. Yeah, I'm 15 minutes behind the chat, guys. Remember, the Colonel is a normal human being. His chat is on slow mode. Just wait. Exactly. Thank you, Arno Flux. Somebody that's using their common sense here. Thank you. Our daughter and granddaughter living with us. She also applied. If we're called for an interview, should we take them with us? No. Take them interview? No. You're only allowed to bring the people that you've been told to bring. They'll tell you who to bring. But if you want to include them in the family, put them down there. Okay? Teresa, that's what you should do. There's a lot of support for special needs people. Yep. Cerebral palsy. Yeah, Yaku, I understand. Yep. Oh, Snuggles says Emmy is Middle East, not Maine. Oh, okay. Well, Snuggles, okay, now I understand. If you're on a temporary work visa, you don't live permanently, that's not true. But I answered this question at the very beginning of this broadcast. I know I did. I remember because I said it before I even took questions. And then people get upset because I'm not answering super chats because I'm 15 or 20 minutes behind because I set the stage for people. So if you're in the Middle East, that's not an acronym. ME is not an acronym. You just made that up. ME is an acronym for Maine, for the state of Maine. If you are in the Middle East on a temporary work visa and your permanent abode is South Africa, apply. That's why they left the thing on there, I believe, to say what country you're in. So you can come back for the interview. But you're not going to get interviewed in Dubai. You're not getting interviewed in Bahrain. That ain't going to happen. There's nobody running a refugee program there. So there's no one to interview you. See, this is where people don't understand. You got this whole thing about the embassy. It's like Vernon was doing earlier. The embassy is not there for you. It's not there for refugees. It doesn't exist for refugees. It exists for our relations with South Africa and for consular services. Now, the consular service will process something for you to get you out of the country once the PRM, Population Resettlement Migration Office in the State Department, processes you, approves you, and gets you booked to go to the States. They will also take care of the paperwork, which will be something that consular service will provide. But the embassy is not there for you. The embassy in Dubai has nothing to do with South Africa. It has nothing to do with what's going on in Portugal, nothing to do with what's going on in Panama. They don't exist for you. That's why calling them is a waste of time. We're wasting their time and your time. So, Middle East, you're going to have to go back for the interview. Unless they do something crazy, which, why would they do that? They're already, okay, so this is a question that beggars imagination for me. Why do people keep asking if they're on an H-2A visa, can they do the interview in Washington? When people in South Africa have to go to Pretoria or Joburg, why would they accommodate you in Washington, D.C. or America when people in South Africa have to come all the way from Uppington to Joburg? I mean, if they had set up a program the way I would have set up with interviews in Uppington, Nelspruit, Petersburg, Joburg, Pretoria, Durban, Port Elizabeth, Cape Town, and Bloemfontein, if they had set up in 9 locations like I would have done, then you go, oh, I'm in the U.S. Why can't they accommodate me here? Oh, I'm in Dubai. Why can't they accommodate me? That would make common sense. But when you know that they were only interviewing people in Pretoria until tomorrow, I don't know why people are asking, I'm in Thailand. I'm on the beach in Pattaya. Can't they come interview me here? No. 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 If we choose 0 to 3 months, would we be contacted? No, you won't, Vale. That doesn't get you. If you think that's going to get you an earlier interview, it doesn't. It might. It depends. It depends on every case. Tom Muck says, you're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Beulah Reichert says, if I get approved, do I get more or less a choice of going to the farm area? Nope, you don't, Beulah. Obviously, you're not watching my videos. I just interviewed Herman a couple days ago, and Herman is a farmer, and he's living in a major metropolitan area. Didn't get to go to a farm. You go where we put you. You can ask. It might affect where you go, particularly if you have a special needs child or you have an elderly parent that has dementia, something like that. Yeah, that may be the case. But no, you don't get to pick. And you don't get to pick. If the person is on medical board and they're not working here, do they able to stay on that side? What? I have no idea what that is. If a person is on medical, what is a medical board? It's also the word is spelled incorrectly. And they're not working here, do they be able to stay that side without work? Do the government be able to look after these people? Okay, Olga, I'm guessing that even though your surname is Anglophone, that English is not your first language. If a person are you medically disabled? Is that what you're saying? Unable to work? Will they be able to come to the U.S.? Yes. If that's your question, you have someone that's medically handicapped or incapable of working, can they come to the U.S.? As long as they qualify for the program? Yes. Thank you for everything you do, says Peter. And still do for the program. You're welcome. Is nuclear family seen up 21 years? No, Rabid Bunny, it's not. A certain circumstance, that's the case. You have a student in university living with family. Yeah, that could be the case. But no, nuclear family is not 21. Age of majority in America is 18, federally. And that's what applies here. Conrad says, thanks. The PayPal will be better to take cash. Yeah, but they put fees when you convert from... Actually, maybe not. Conversion. Yeah, you can put your money in. But when you convert it to dollars, they're going to take some fees. I don't know how that's going to work. So, yeah, it might be a good way, Conrad. I mean, PayPal. But you got to remember, PayPal's fickle. So, be careful what you do in that, okay? They will have your parents' details in the archives if you were born here. God bless Israel and the brave men. Well, Christo, that's not appropriate for this conversation, but thank you for that. On Android Megatech, excuse me, you have so much patience. Thank you for sticking with all the repeated questions. You're welcome. Alan McGonigal says, would I need to bring additional chronic medication with me if we're able to get in the refugee program? Okay, Alan, come on, dude. Seriously. Thank you for the $7 super chat, but what kind of question is that? I mean, I don't know. What is a chronic medication? HIV meds, hypertension, high blood pressure. I mean, we make those medications. We are the world's pharmacy. America is the world's chemist. We create virtually every life-saving medication that's on the planet, with few exceptions. A couple Swiss, a Norwegian, and a British company are the only other ones that really produce anything of any note. We do almost all of it. And nothing comes from China or India. They're just copycats. So the answer there is, yeah, I don't know what the medication is, but you're probably going to get it. There are some medications that aren't allowed here. Whoops, my microphone was down. Jeez, is it still going? Okay, so let me see if my microphone out. Okay. All right, so yeah, there's your meds, Alan. I mean, you're not asking me. I mean, your meds are going to be here. They may have a different name, a different generic name, but you're going to have meds for every treatment. You might have to get a different med than you're getting in South Africa. It's more or less effective based on what the FDA has approved. Thank you for the super chat, Alan. Ghost Phantom, can we get the link that was posted in Telegram, posted in the chat? I'm having problems getting the SMS code. Can one of the mods please put up there again? There it is. Hendo just put it. Telegram groups right there. The link to the Telegram was to the group. It's not to the application. I didn't give you a link to download Telegram. I gave you a link to the group. That's probably why you're having problems, Ghost Phantom. Go to your Apple store or go to your Android store and download the app. That's not a link to the app. I didn't give you a link to the app. I'm not promoting Telegram. I'm just saying that's where the group is. I gave you a link to the actual group. Download the software, then use the link once you have an account. A lot of friends, same situation, so I do think it may change the future. Thank you once again for your efforts, says Desh. Appreciate all the time. You're very welcome. Okay, I asked my brother to get my original death certificates from my attorneys. Why do you need death certificates? Karen, why do you need death certificates? They were not vetted. You were, because they will have their own case. I have no idea you could have money in your PayPal account. Yeah, I have money in my PayPal account, Elizabeth. Yeah, I have money. Yep, I use to pay for things. But they take money. So, yeah. Yep. People give me super chats here. I get super chats in PayPal, which is really cool. I appreciate that because I get more. So let me find one here. So here's one someone gave me on June 1st. It's $30.74. There was no fee taken from that person. They must have in the States. Here's one from May 16th when I was in South Africa. And this one here was from Charles. Charles gave it to me. It was $50, but there was $2.25 taken as a fee. So I got $47. Not ideal, but anyway, I'm trying to find another one that's not even. So Johannes gave me one on June 2nd and $50. It took out $2.25 again. Thank you for that. Yep. Well, the drugs aren't always the same, Utopia. They have different names sometimes, and some drugs aren't allowed here. Yep, Elizabeth, so you can use, but they take a percentage. But it's a lot better. I mean, that's a 5% right there. 2.25 is 4.5% fee. So, okay. Expat, you're welcome. Okay, Arctic. Remember my son would work on cruise ships, USA passenger general negative towards situation in America. Rentia Weber says, Colonel, remember my son works on cruise ships? Vaguely. USA passengers in general negative towards situation in America. I have no idea what you're talking about. What passengers? They don't live near me. Not 21, 18. You're an adult in the USA, and in South Africa, 21 stopped after 94. USA has always been 18. Yep. So sorry you have to deal with some really petty, arrogant, and plain rude people. Thank you for your kindness. You're welcome, Ingrid. Do you know if there are any shops that can use PayPal? Yes, you can use PayPal to pay for a lot of things online, but not local shops. Nobody's taking PayPal to my knowledge. Colonel, ask your questions whether it's a super chat or not. Just be patient. Thank you, Mush. Yeah, because this is a refugee program. Never make calls to the embassy. We were killing time before you started your show. Okay, that's fine. Hope you're well. Just want to say thank you for your support. Thank you, Primal Boar. The cough is mostly gone. It took a month. I've been back for a month on Tuesday. Yep. Some of you make South Africans really look like a bunch of bots. I tried to take a cash out from South Africa. You're not allowed to take more than 25,000 cash at a time, but you can transfer 900,000 a year. That's Art Queen. That your numbers are not correct. Yeah, you're not supposed to take more than 25,000 rand into the country, out of the country. That's correct or equivalent of. But you can take dollars in addition to that. So if you have dollars, yeah, South Africa has funny rules, different than most countries, and it's more than 900,000. I think it's $1 million rand per year or something like that. So. Take meds with scripts. Get your dog's stuff sorted. Decide that stuff is going to be expensive in dollars. True. Please share your Telegram link again. Join the chat late. Can somebody share that for Johan Furi? Okay, 1,000 people have applied. Every day there are more applications. No, they can't do 50,000 interviews in 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Patches. I mean, it's just insane. Oh, it's been 3 weeks. Okay, get a grip. I mean, honestly, people have no idea what's involved here. A thorough background investigation must be completed. have to prove who you are, where you're from, what you're saying is true. That has to take place. There's an administrative process that has to take place. Interviews have to be conducted. Medical screening has to be done. All this stuff takes time. It took 3 months to get the first batch of 59 people over here. And the leftists were like, oh my gosh, they weren't vetted. They weren't checked. There's people waiting in line for years. Well, they're not waiting in line for years because we're checking on them. They're waiting in line for years because we're not taking 6 million people from Somalia into this country. We're taking 40,000 per year. That's why they're waiting years, not because of this. So, yeah, it's insane. Me. I'm the only person that applied. I must be first. I did on May 12th, so I should have been called already. No, that's very, very self-centered. Will there be someone in America to help us transfer savings and pension over to America? No, there won't be. There might be a financial advisor who can help you, but they're going to charge you for that. I don't know how you're going to transfer your pension over here. How do you transfer a pension to America? We don't run your pensions, Sue. It's a good question, but I don't know how we're going to do that. Yes, the Southern government can take your money with the new law. You're correct. That's why they're passing these laws. Yep. Can I possibly have a job opportunity through my current employer? Yeah, you can. Sure. It's a fair question, Tuscan son. So I've said many, many times, if you have an employer, if you're working remotely for an American company, contact them and say, hey, listen, I've applied for if you want, I've applied for the refugee program, or I've put a statement of interest in, or you've been interviewed, I'm coming over the States. Any chance I could work for you guys over there, either remotely or at your location? Sure, why not? I would do that. The Wicked One says, wow, time flies. Oh, 3 months for your membership. Thank you, Wicked One. I see Abadim. Yes, that's not related to this. In bed now, moderating the background. Thank you, Erica. Just open an account, move your money, yeah. Smoking cigarettes through your nose. All right, well, thank you for sharing that silly comment. Telegram group address is not invalid. Nope, it's not invalid. That is the link. And we went from nothing to 3,177 members with that link. So obviously it works. And Hendo posted 255, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people have joined it since then. I posted earlier and like 30 people joined. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31. 32 people joined when I posted earlier. We've had over 40 people join it this broadcast. So it does work. There must be something wrong with your phone. I want you to know that I really appreciate your time and help. Sorry for the ingrates who can't handle the truth. Thank you. Wise Vernon got a sad face. Gabi is here. Arctic, you seem well-traveled. I know you're a pilot, family already in Tennessee. How is it there? Heard the crime was above the national average. Well, that's a silly statement, Gabi. The crime in Tennessee is a big state. You mean in Memphis? Memphis has high crime. Nashville has high crime. Yep, but not the state. Okay. Light rain just outside Liberal University town in the blue state, Washington is a small town I drove through yesterday. Main Street with 104x6 American flags. There you go. Rural is red. Yep. Limited carriers allowed type is difficult to string a whole understandable, coherent question in one comment. That's true. Paulie's here. Where the hell you been, Paulie? Thank you for the extra time. Okay, says White Army Soldier. Okay, I had the same issue with Telegram. Couldn't get the code. Download Telegram X and that works. I don't know what Telegram X is. Normal visa application takes 4 to 9 months just for approval. Yeah, and people are whining about, I submitted my statement of interest 2 weeks ago and I haven't heard from them. It's so unfair. Well, too bad, buddy. The Colonel also mentioned that you should rather convert your money in USA as the conversion rate is a bit better. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I said there. Email address where I can ask you a question outside this video. Well, it's very unfair of you to ask me a question, Johan. Why are you asking me a question outside here? I'm answering your questions here. I'm getting inundated with 10,000 messages, almost 10,000 every day. Yes, there's an email address. It's on the channel. Look up the description of the channel. And if I can, I'll get to it. Okay, thank you all for all you do. My grandfather was a colonel in the Army here. Spent his life in the Army, 18 to 60. He was a hard man, super strict. Hey, Rihanna, thank you for sharing that story. Like I said, Colonel, Southern people step on one another to get to the top. I think people are just desperate and anxious. Well, yeah, that doesn't explain some people's behavior, Karen. If by the end of the program you have not been contacted, only then you start worrying. Yeah. Bradley says, I put my mom's phone number on the statement of interest because mine is being used in my router. That will most likely not be an issue. Well, they'll call your mom. As long as your mom doesn't hate you and she tells you about it, it shouldn't be a problem. Just want to make sure if I missed anything. Are there any more documents I need to fill in? No, you fill in what the website tells you, and when they tell you to bring something, you bring it. But we already know that they're typically asking to see your passport and any divorce certificates you may have and marriage certificates for your current marriage. So, yeah. But, yeah, they'll tell you what to bring. What did Rabbit Bunny say? Because Patchy says comparing two different things. Okay. I know you've answered this before. My son is 25 years old. He's put his statement of interest. What are the chances he will land a different state? Well, Belinda Roberts, you should list on your statement of interest that you have a 25-year-old son. Okay. And, tell them and then see if you can't make it happen. Okay. They try to keep you near each other. Mount Baker is right by Bellingham. I've flown over Mount Baker. Big mountain. It jumped on me here. Sorry. Stan, thanks for all your help. Stan Forster for T-Rand. Folks, I'll get to all the super chats at the end. I missed some earlier because I was answering questions. PayPal has a credit card option. That's correct. I have bank accounts and credit cards set up with my PayPal. That jacket, Colonel needs a Sharks one. Nope, Cristo Clote. There you go. Western Province, buddy. Western Province. There you go. Thank you for everything you're doing. With the limited characters. Okay, I already got to that. Had the same issue with Telegram. Okay, I already got to that. Okay. It's not a communist country. What did Belinda say? Okay, I know. Okay. Okay, you can move wherever you want, but you're going to lose your support. Anyone following Monray Botha Pile on YouTube explaining about weather in states? Nope, never heard of him. Beverly Lloyd. Hello, Colonel. Hope that this is not a stupid question. Do you have any advice on how to articulate fear of persecution? Sure. Has someone threatened you because your ethnicity, your race? Do you live in a place where crime is high and people are attacked because of their race? Have you been unable to get a job? Are you fearful of getting a job? I mean, do you have fear as a woman that you'll be raped and targeted because you're white or because you're colored? Thank you, Oki, for becoming a member. Juan Kotza, thank you for your membership. Don't think we can compare crime. No, you can't compare crime in South Africa with America. So that's silly. Those who want to take out money, you can go to Bidvest and open a Bidvest World Currency card. That's an option. When leaving South Africa, you must declare any cash exceeding $25,000. This applies to South African banknotes or foreign currency equivalent. Correct. That's why I always have less than $25,000 equivalent. Is there a way to bring adult family members over like brothers if you're over? No, Johan. No, they need to apply. You can't bring them over. Mom died when I was 12. I supplied Department of Home Affairs with her ID number, and they issued me with her death certificate. Okay? Sorry to hear your mom died when you were 12. No, I think it was me. I think my phone, my microphone got turned down. Sorry about that. But you should be able to hear me now, Belinda. You must be way behind the chat. Colin DeBrune, confirm with my dad today, 1 million rand without involving SARS. Please do a video letting people relax and wait for the embassy to contact. And we know it's a huge risk. I've done it many times, Con, and I just get attacked for doing the videos. But I'll do another one. Just don't lie or exaggerate. Yep. Do not lie or exaggerate when you have fears. Don't make stuff up because you'll get turned down. After this, probably have nightmares about the refugee program, says Rentia. Why will you have nightmares? Relax. No need to have nightmares. Okay, Gustave Leroux, when leaving, who offered that advice. Thank you for that, sir. Okay, Holden Caulfield, Tennessee isn't that big of a state. You can drive across in a few hours north and south. Factually incorrect, Holden. Factually incorrect. Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. That is in the extreme southwestern corner of Tennessee. Let's go to Johnson City, Tennessee, okay? Okay, directions. Johnson City, Tennessee. Johnson City, Tennessee, okay? Not that big a state, huh? Is that what you said? Not that big a state. Let's just rubbish that right away, okay? Not that big a state. Memphis, Tennessee is in the extreme southwestern corner of Tennessee. That blue route is 7 hours and 500 miles, 800 kilometers to get to Johnson City. That's in the northeast corner of the state. That's not insignificant. 7 hour drive, 8 hours if you take an alternate route, but the main route is 7 hours. through Nashville. Memphis, Nashville, all the way up to Johnson City. That's the length of the state. That's not insignificant or small. North to south, it's still also 3 or 4 hours. That's not insignificant driving. So I disagree with that statement. I have a 42-year-old very able son that I can't get to move out. Can I put him on his refugee program? Willem says, if I have any acquaintance in the U.S. or have been there before, will that count? Doesn't help you. Doesn't help you. Doesn't help you. Okay, guys, letters of recommendation, you're not coming here for work. We're not letting you come here for a visa to visit our country or work here. You're coming here because your life's in jeopardy. What does having an American acquaintance or having experience in America do for you? Nothing. Is your life in graver jeopardy because you have an acquaintance in Nashville? No. Is your life in graver jeopardy because you don't have an acquaintance in Nashville? No. Your life is in jeopardy because you're living in South Africa under unjust racial discrimination. So, yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm getting a little tired of the dickweed, funny questions. So people are just being assholes here tonight. I really need to stop it. Not that question, but some of the questions been asked. I've just put someone in a timeout for a stupid question, stupid comment. All right, Wyatt Army asked a question, which is a good one here. I'm going to address it. Then I'm going to go look at all the super chats and make sure I didn't miss any. So Wyatt Army says, since the 90 days has passed and backup are running, are more states taking people? Is it still just a few? Okay, so the reason why only a few states took refugees in the first batch, number one, there are only 59 refugees, so they're not going to go to all 50 states. That's the first thing. It's just silly. Second, the money was frozen by President Trump in January. On January 20th, he froze the Refugee Reassistance Program for 90 days. That's why all the leftist programs were crying. They were crying because they weren't getting money. And they have to pay their staffs, and they have to pay their electric bills. And suddenly they weren't getting money off the gravy train of U.S. taxpayers paying to bring people to this country. So they were crying about it. So the program was frozen. So in order to bring the first batch of people over, the State Department had to find money from somewhere. They had to take it from another program, but they couldn't get enough money from other programs. So they asked states to help them out. They said, listen, at the state level, do you have the resources to help us? And can you pick up half the cost of resettling these people who are coming over now? This is a proof of concept. The president will relaunch the program once he sorted out the fraud that the Biden administration did. A number of states said, we'll help out. And those states agreed to pick up half the cost. The money that was frozen 90 days ago has been turned back on, and Afghans are now coming that were already pre-vetted when it was frozen. They're now coming to America, and there'll be other countries coming too. So that money has been turned back on that spigot, which was already budgeted for this year. In fact, they ought to have plenty of money because it was frozen for about 3 or 4 months. So there ought to be plenty of money for 3 or 4 months. It wasn't dispensed. So yes, there is. But what was the purpose of that question? So why he asked the question? Yeah, are more states taking people? Yes, they will take people. They don't get a choice on whether they take people. The federal government decides where you go, not the states. The only reason the states had any say the first time is because there was no money. And if we sent refugees to California and they refused to provide the money, we would have had a problem, like supposedly happened in a northern state. All right, so Wyatt Army, there's your answer. If the U.S. bans South Africa travel, will it stop? No, it won't stop the refugee program. It wouldn't stop it. Apply for status from UAE. What are my chances of success? You apply for refugee status from UAE. You mean you want refugee status from the United Arab Emirates? They're not giving you refugee status. Are you saying you filled out a statement of interest while you're in the UAE? Is that what you're saying? Your chances are good if you're a South African resident, if you have a home in South Africa, and if you fly back and do your interview there. A few hours to go from north to south. Very kind and helpful. You're welcome, Ludwig. Okay. It's a flight or fight. I choose flight. 50 is lifeline. Lifeline, yep. Good night, Raven. So happy for all my fellow Southerners being helped to get out now, says Hans. Just went through Memphis and I drove to Missouri to go and mine for crystals in Ozarks tornado belt too. Okay. I said 7 hours. I didn't say 700 miles. I said 7 hours. 7 hours, 495 miles. 7 hours. I didn't say 700 miles. I said 495 miles. If I said 700 miles, I misspoke. I said 7 hours. If you've been in the USA 5 years and we want to apply for citizenship, what would all we need? Brendan, you need to go to the State Department, and and I don't have the answers on that. I don't know what you have to do to apply for citizenship. Do you have a green card? That's the first thing you need. Are you going to deeper into the phone? No, what? Are you going to go deeper into the no phone, no assistance refugees video? Wesley, what are you talking about? Can't trust Google. Well, Clarence, if you're unwilling to use a search engine to find information about states, I don't know what to tell you. It's not a stupid question, White Army soldiers. Does the USA Refugee Program limit per year for the South Africans? Well, that is a question we don't have an answer to. The U.S. Refugee Program has a stated goal. There's an annual report that the President submits every year. The last one submitted was for 2024 or 2023. It was 2024. Well, anyway, by Biden. The new one isn't. The 2023 was for Biden. 2024 hasn't been done by Trump yet, because it's prepared by an agency and he signs it. It goes to Congress to report on the program. In the program, it puts down the status: how many people came over, how much money we spent, how many NGOs working for us, yada 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 yada, where they came from, the approval rate, yada yada yada. And then that program also puts goals. Did we meet the goals? 40,000 from the Darfur conflict, 40,000 from the Sudan conflict, 100,000 from Africa, or 10,000 from Africa. And then, so we'll have to wait and see what's in the program. We can't possibly answer that question unless they publicly state they're putting a limit on it. I don't think there's a limit on it. We can take as many as we need to. Again, we took 162,000 unvetted Afghans in this country in 3 weeks because of Joe Biden's failure in Afghanistan. We never should have done that. They've been dumped in my neighborhood. These people have no interest in assimilating. They're just here like leeches living off of us. Now, there's some good people from Afghanistan, but they were vetted, not the leeches. They need to go back. Vicky says, all my questions have been answered. You're very welcome. Some folks should realize that this is a refugee program. Yeah, it's not an easy way to immigrate. Exactly, Henko. That's the point. Good night, Stian. Okay, Amanda Delport. Hey. All right. You get what the airlines allow. People have been here forever asking the same questions over and over again. That's getting a bit annoying. Not you, Patches. You're answering it. Do you know when the PRM agents let you know if you're accepting the program? No, I don't know how that works. Okay, just saw a question to ask, will I be able to get a job in America? All right, Alec, that's because you're using Apple. We've warned you if you're using Apple. There's no pornographic material in the group. That is a fraudulent effort by leftists to block the group. That's what you get for using Apple. Apple censors people. So someone fraudulently reported there's pornographic material on that channel. I've covered this 100 times. Nothing I can do about it. That's what you get for using Apple. That's what you use for your Apple. So the other option is you can go and download Telegram for your desktop or your laptop. Put it on those programs and then you can access it there. Okay? Using it on your browser? No, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. No, that's nonsense. People that never no. Anyway, let me go and check on all the super chats now. Okay, I'll make sure I got everybody's super chat. Okay. Okay, so and 140 Rand from Sparrow Docs, 140 Rand super sticker. Thank you for that. Courtney gave, that's the Sunday edition. I'm sorry, that was the news. Let me get back. Okay, for this one here. So Werner Durant gave 14 Rand. Biggest difficulty for us is patience. Yep. And then Johan Feldbrand said, do you think South Africa's chance to succeed or fail? That was in this one here. I said, I'm concerned it's going to fail. Len J gave 350 Rand. Said, donkey, you're welcome. Werner Durant gave 14. Just to clarify, they vet using my name and email. They'll vet using your name. They'll use your name. Your email's an alias. Your name is your name. Just out of curiosity, Francois Funderberg, so they run a background check before the interview based only on your name and mobile number. Guys, it's based on your name. But yes, the phone number obviously is used too. But phone numbers get changed all the time in South Africa, so that's not your identifying information. Voroshka, just for you, Colonel. Thank you. 70 Rand, thank you. Rudy Kutsia, we have a special needs child. Is there a program available, or will we be advised by the U.S. team on how our son be accommodated? There are lots of programs, and I can't possibly answer that question, Rudy, because I don't know where they're going to send you. But there are programs. Thank you for the 70 Rand. Days of Thunder, 140 Rand. Thanks, Colonel. Just don't want to lie if they ask if I can afford my own airfare, and then they know I have a large bank balance. Some people do that. Well, if you lie, Days of Thunder, you're going to screw yourself. You should always tell the truth. And if you can afford to pay for your flight, then you pay for it. If you can't afford to pay for it, the International Organization Migraine normally pays for it. Stan March, 1,024 Rand super chat, saying congrats on smashing 100,000 subscribers. Thank you for that. PH, my son is 18 but still in school. Must he apply? Yes, he must. Thank you for that 35 Rand. Al McGonigal, 70 Rand. Thank you for everything you do. You give. You're awesome and amazing. Thank you for that. Anthony Michael Funsfield said, this is when I come to Nelspruit, they've got a restaurant. Thank you. Thank you so much for that at 70 Rand. And then Pearl Vitboy said, thank you for your time and input. Thank you, Pearl. I think I answered your email. Would I need to bring additional chronic medication with me? Alan, you should always take, your current supply of medication. So unfortunately, I am taking doxycycline right now because of Roche. So I always take enough to cover me when I go. So yeah, you should cover me. But you'll be able to get meds here like that. But you have to get prescription meds after seeing a doctor. So you're not going to see a doctor in your first day, possibly a week, 2 weeks when you get here. So you better take medication to cover you for 30, 60, 90 days. Okay? Ghost platform. And that goes with any travel. Anywhere you go, you should always take more medication than your period. You never know. I mean, look at the people who went to South Africa and then the COVID scam started and they couldn't leave the country. If they didn't have medication for 90 days, they were screwed unless they could find a doctor to give them a script. Ghost Platform says, can we get a link that was posted in Telegram, posted in the chat? Okay, well, we fixed that, I think. This is a dumb question. If I'm 4 times adopted child, do I need my adoption papers? I don't know that you need your adoption papers, Ghost Platform. I'm sorry to hear you were adopted 4 times. It must not have gone right 3 times. That sounds bad. But hopefully you wind up in a loving home eventually. So Ghost Platform, I don't know that you need adoption papers. You just need identify who you are. Whether you've been adopted or not really doesn't matter unless you're a minor. That's a different story. Anonymous says, this is why there's delay in the program because idiots calling the embassy and blowing up their emails. Just be patient. Thank you for the 100 Rand, Anonymous. Stian Forster, thanks, Colonel, for all your help. You're welcome. 14 Rand. Conda Bruin, Colonel, confirmed with my dad today. 1 mil without involving SARS. Okay, yep, there you go. And there was another super chat that came in, I think. Let me reload that just a moment ago. Mr. T says, here's the next one for you to read, 140 Rand. Thank you for that, Mr. T. Okay, I'm caught up on the super chats now, so I'm not reading any more of them. Okay, from there. Okay. Thank you for all the info. Must excuse some of us. You're welcome, Louis Harhoff. I feel bad about leaving my family at 18, but it's my best chance of safety and being successful. Well, Bill, I understand where you're coming from. I know my question may seem irrelevant and foolish, but if those picking up our statement of interest is thinking... Wendy, what? If those picking up our statement of interest is thinking ME... No, ME is Apple. That's a freaking email that... No, stop. Gosh. The gentleman typed in his location was saying it was ME, capital letters, as if I was supposed to understand and divine that means Middle East. That's like speaking to me in Kosa. I don't speak Kosa. Give me a word in Kosa. I don't know what that means. He put ME. To me, people were talking about being in America at the time and applying for it. ME, I presume that was the case. He's in Maine. That's the two-letter abbreviation. Your email is not going to have anything to do whether they call you or not. Calm down. That's now you're just making stuff up to give yourself headaches, Wendy. Stop. No, why would they stop? And first off, your medication shouldn't be in your luggage. Your medication should be in your carry-on always. Why would they stop you at the airport? You have a prescription. My name is on here. It says what the medication is for. And they never give you more than a few months supply. I mean, the most I've ever gotten is 6 months supply because I was in the military on deployment. But I rarely have medication. So anyway, no, it's not going to be an issue at the airport. May says, if you follow Colonel Chris Wyatt, then you would know the severity of our situation. Please watch his interview with Jan Ahlers, where Ahlers didn't understand how well versed the Colonel is. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand how well informed I am. Your phone number has been Rika and your ID number, so they can use that to do a background check. Okay. You don't need a doctor's letter for medication. It says right on the bottle, your prescription. It says what it's for. My name, doxycycline, 50 milligrams. Has the date of the prescription. It has the prescription number. It has the pharmacy where it was issued. It has the physician's number on it. It even has my birth month on here. I didn't realize that till just now. So you don't need a doctor's letter to have medication. Yeah, don't worry, because we have great ways to do background checks. Brolo says, thanks for answering. Just heartbroken to see that lady and husband attacked in police station, giving almost 1,000 super chat with an urgent question, but then I ignored a week ago. What are you talking about? 1,000 Rand super chat for an urgent question. What are you talking about, Brolo? All right. Let me see what you're talking about. I know you commented earlier, but just jump back in here. What's this? Did my channel just get shut down? No. Okay. Ooh, just wasn't working. There we go. Super chats. You gave 1,000 Rand super chat a week ago, Brolo. Okay. And you say I didn't answer it. Did you stay to the end of the broadcast? Okay. I'm looking back for a super chat from Brolo. I answer all super chats. But when there's 1,000 people chatting and I'm trying to answer questions in a program like this, I don't always get to all of them. I never ignore super chats. It's been an occasion where I missed a super chat and I go back the next time and I bring it up then. But again, I'm under no obligation to read any chats, let alone super chats. You're encouraged to read them by YouTube because people will super chat if you answer their questions. And they're smart to tell you that. But I'm going back. I'm now back to June 11th. That's 4 days ago. Looking for Brolo. And I may miss it here, so I'm going to go back and look. You didn't tell me what... Was it last week's refugee thing? I'm on the last week's refugee thing now. And, okay, last week's refugee. Okay. Paul van Noordvik. Delia. A thing of nouns. Interesting username. I don't see anything from you last week's either, Brolo. I don't see a super chat from you. Did you get billed for the super chat? Because I'm not seeing a super chat from you. I'm now back to June 6th. And I see now there's Berto. There's Davol Delport. Condebrun just gave one here. Arno Flock gave one under Appelgren. I don't see anything from you, Brolo. Were you billed on your credit card? You might want to check your credit card and see if you were billed. Because I'm not seeing a super chat from you. I'm back to June 5th now. Nothing yet. Yuri Simon, Peter Vick, Francois, Courtney, Paulie. Paulie gave one. Yep. Sean Mandich, Martin van der Westhuizen. I don't see anything from Brolo. I'm now back to June 4th. So that's now 11 days. You said a week ago. So now I'm past that week. I'm not denying you gave it, but I see no super chat listed here. None. None. Pearl says, I didn't answer email. Okay. All right, Pearl. And you sent it as Pearl, right? Did you send the email to the Google email account or did you send it to my personal email account? I'm no longer answering emails from my personal email account. It's very inconsiderate of people to send me email. I don't know that you sent it there, but let me go and see. Gmail, Pearl. Let me see if you sent it this one. Okay, Pearl. Yes. You sent me an email on the 14th. That's yesterday. I thought you sent one prior to that. You sent on the 12th, you sent me one. Okay, you sent me a long one. Okay, yeah, I will get to your message, Pearl, I promise. Okay? I thought I'd answered it. It's a long one. You wrote me a novel. Thank you for responding, Pearl. Thanks for answering my super chat. Okay. Okay. Do they help you find a permanent home estates that place you in the... Is that a rent home? 13 Frico, the refugee resistance agents help you. They put you in temporary housing when you arrive, and then within a couple of weeks you wind in permanent housing. Permanent housing is most like a rental for the short term. You're going to buy a house unless you're rich. How are you going to buy a house? You don't have any credit history, so it'll be a rental. How long after arriving to the USA am I allowed to travel UK visit? Rihanna, I don't know the answer to that question. Probably pretty quickly. You got money? It's amazing amount of people that believe Cockpot 24, especially the fact that half refugees are back in South Africa. There are no refugees back in South Africa, Con. Who said that? Cockpot 24? Not a single one has gone back. Not my super chat, not tonight. Okay. Yeah, ME is a long existing email domain server. It's been around for 20 years. Got nothing to hide, says Karen. Good. Three-month supply of meds I use. Doxycycline, all labeled. Yep. Okay, do they help you? Okay, got that one. Okay. 10 minutes early, got help. Wow, that's cool. I think, in my opinion, if you go for your medical, take your script of medicine with you. Yep. All of us can't wait to go, but be patient. Yep. Thanks for your help. Gavi, you're welcome. Can I take documents, the interview, to provide proof of future persecution? How do you provide a document of future persecution? Of your fear of future persecution? Sure, why not? Take whatever you want to the interview. You won't be able to take a cell phone in, though. So don't plan on taking videos and pictures. Print the pictures out. Print the stuff out, because you can't take it into the interview, most likely. Josar Smith, $5. He's known for inaccurate reporting for many years. I don't know. He interviewed me, so you can watch the interview and see what you say. Tuscan, you're welcome. Thanks, Colonel. Not planning on lying about money. Just don't want to miss state bank balance. Thanks for. You're welcome, Days of Thunder. I've done it twice. Okay. Do appreciate your answering my question. I do apologize for upsetting with my question. No, women are paranoid. Chaos Juggler, I had no idea you're even a woman. People are paranoid. It's okay. I'm not upset. I'm fine. Guys, I'm fine. Good night, Peter Fundeventa. Thank you so much. Says Magically Neat. Okay. Now, the program is not for grifters. Mr. T, 3 months. Wonder if Ramaphosa went to see Trump, asked the address of the crosses again. Glad to hear that you're not coughing anymore. Well, I'm still coughing a little bit, Chronicles, but it's almost completely gone. It took 3 weeks, almost a month to clear it. Good night, Ann's Place. Patches. I've been at this almost 2 hours. Wow. So on one of the chats, someone said I will have to pay out of pocket for my insulin. That's very expensive. Not sure if this is true. Well, Heidi, I don't think it's true. I don't know what context we're talking about here is, but we have medical aid for refugees. I've covered that in one of the videos. Go to the finance video in the early part of the, either go on the playlist for refugees here, or go on to the Substack, and the Substack will list the videos, and you go down from the very beginning. One of the first 5 or 6 videos is finances, talks about refugee cash assistance. In fact, let me talk about that very quickly here now, as I brought it up. So, the U.S. offers refugee cash assistance to refugees who arrive in the country. They may be eligible for other services such as medical assistance, job placement, English language training. Refugee cash assistance is good for up to 8 months after arriving in the U.S., and it varies by family size. A single person gets $230 U.S. per month, while a family of 4 would get $611 per month. Half of your household's earnings are deducted from that if you one or both adults are working, so you lose it when you start working. So, are you an individual who's been granted refugee status in the United States? You may be eligible for federal mainstream benefits, which are not from the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Such that money I just talked about is from the Office of Refugee Resettlement. So you get that from the State Department. But beyond that, you can get things such as temporary assistance for needy families, TANF, or supplemental Social Security income. That's just say it could be up to $1,000 for a person. And health insurance through Medicaid, food assistance through the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, SNAP, or food stamps. You may also be eligible for cash assistance, medical assistance, employment preparation, job placement, English language training, and other services all through OR. There you go, folks. I've covered that in that video. Okay? There's no transit visa. What is a transit visa? We don't have transit visas. You're welcome, Danian. My pleasure. Thank you for doing the stream. It's very helpful. You're welcome, Lindy. Watch everybody still learn new things. Yeah, no, every time we all learn new things. There are some questions which I shake my head at, but they're actually very good questions people ask. So I am not a citizen, and I found all the laws online by searching on Google. I know groceries cost, rent costs. Yep, okay. How do South Africans measure firewood? We have cords. Well, most people don't know what a cord of firewood is. I know what a cord of firewood is, Lardic. You know, because I was a farm boy. So, would love to work in forestry. Yeah, there's lots of jobs there, but it doesn't pay well. Forestry pays well, but not working in parks. Caroline Levitt never mentioned President Trump meeting Ron Posa. He's saying he's seeing the president, so that he's going to just do a walk-up, most powerful man in demand to talk. Really? I don't know. Well, maybe he might have. I'm sure she didn't disclose his entire agenda. After acceptance, refugee, who will be responsible for booking the flights to USA? The population resettlement and migration folks will do that. You don't do that, Morsh. No flights are direct. Transit through England now require transit visas. No, not transit visa. It requires that authorization, which is supposedly not a visa. It's just a way to fleece money from travelers. Yeah, the U.S. has to do it. So, flights are direct. Arctic. What are you talking about? The flights are coming from Cape Town and Joburg, go to Atlanta, Newark, and D.C. What are you talking about? Okay. How's the wood for braaiing? Well, it depends, Peter. What kind of wood do you want? I like to use mesquite, but I can't get mesquite in Pennsylvania, so I don't braai. Get all kinds of wood. Okay, cool beans. Let's close that. So PayPal. Thank you for all your efforts and commitment. All I want to know is, Wyoming, are we going to have a monthly braai? I'm not in Wyoming. If accepted, will the current state laws be provided to understand what legal? No, Alan. No one's going to give you a list of state laws that are applicable. The laws apply to everybody. I don't understand your question, Alan, but thank you for the 70 Rand. No one's going to spoon feed you, but you are going to get help from refugee assistance folks. They will help you. By the way, I want to thank folks who've watched my video today about the return of the South African soldiers. Let's see how that's doing. That one I published a few hours ago. It's at 30,000 views already. Pretty cool. 48 new subscribers, and it's been up for 4 hours. So people are still watching it. Thank you for that. That one I published a few hours ago, and it's now, it's not the best performing. It's pretty good. So we're doing all right the last few days. So, all right. Thank you for that. So, wow, how do we do here? What do we get a peak? We got a peak of 1,029 people. Merlot. So everything I can to have some money for passports and travel, but concerned I won't get into the program. Well, Merlot, thank you for 35 Rand. Why are you concerned you won't get in the program? Are you not a racial minority suffering unjust racial discrimination in South Africa? Which state can't you braai? You can braai anywhere you want within local ordinances. Actually allowed to make open fires in the U.S.? Of course. Of course. People burn their rubbish all the time. What are you talking about? Depends where you're at, man. Depends where you're at. A pickup is a bucky or a ute in Australia. Only need transit visa if you spend time in that country. Example, over 12 hours. Exactly. What about South African citizen whose non-citizen spouse is wrongfully accused of having a fraudulent PR because they refused to pay a bribe? What is a PR? I don't know what a PR is. Permanent residency? Don't think that's really going to matter. We don't really care about what South African immigration has to say for your refugee status. If you are qualified and you're the head household, then your spouse will be able to come over with you. You're welcome, Francois Ruiz. Wyoming's got loads of trees for making braai broodjies. No, it doesn't, Christo. Go back to your shark braai. They interview you to check for red flags. If you're honest and qualify as a racial minority, you should have nothing to worry about. Exactly. It's not a math exam. I met him. What's this? I tried to get an appointment. DHA. I have no idea what he's talking about. Karen is saying, I met him. Who's him? Tried to get an appointment. Home Affairs in Durban for a passport. Christo says, love you, Colonel. Yes, but you're a Sharks fan, so we have to tolerate you. Michelle Devanaga says, thank you for answering the questions. Appreciate it. Yeah, one of my favorite rugby players has that name, Devo Devanaga. Montana is a beautiful state with awesome people. I used to go there all the time. Hey, Tony. Well, yeah, you're just across the border in the oil sands. Pay attention to the fire restrictions and weather, but otherwise people burn brush, logging slash. My neighbors have a 10-meter pile of slash for all that fall burning. Yep, and it depends on where you're at. We burn what we want on our farm. There's no control over that. But when you're in a municipal area or a metropolitan area, you can't just burn stuff because you want to burn stuff. Sorry, Wednesdays would chat with you through Thundergun meet and greet. At least I got to shake your hand and introduce myself, but decided to give up my seat and my wife's seat for 2 older people. That was very kind of you, Quids, to do that. And I'm sorry, Thundergun wasn't ideal. I didn't know we were going to have 100 people show up. That was crazy. Next time we may not be able to do one in Thundergun or just do a second one after we do a first one somewhere nearby. Yep, so appreciate these lives for the refugee programs, but it seems people keep asking the same questions. Perhaps use these live sessions sometimes teach us about America. Janine, I do that on all my live streams. I talk about America and people's questions. So, no, I'm going to continue. If you don't like what they're doing here, Janine, you just don't watch it. I prefer you come watch it, but don't watch it. But as was stated earlier, we're all learning new things from these questions. So, yeah. So, no, I'll keep doing it. This has reduced the number of refugee questions to a trickle from the fast flood of people who are disrespectful and rude, constantly coming on my news programs and asking me questions. It was very inconsiderate knowing that I'm doing news programs or talking about something else. And so it really pissed off my viewers and really hurt my program. And so I decided to do this once a week. That's why I'm doing it, Janine. So we're going to keep doing this. Interview being able to articulate fear of persecution. That sounds like you don't necessarily need to show paperwork. Exactly. You're welcome, Alan. Thank you for your super chats. And Gio, thank you for your membership. You cannot get a certain page on the Home Affairs website because you need to submit the application. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, standing outside waiting to meet me. Okay. I did my best to get around and greet people. I tried really hard at Thunderground and all my meet and greets. I think I greeted everybody. If I missed some of my apologies. There's a difference in the school standard from South African side. Yes, there's a huge difference, Leo. For number one, thank you, Alan, for your membership. Thank you for everything you do. You're very welcome, Alan. Thank you. 10 months a member. I really appreciate that. I didn't realize you've been here that long, Alan. My bad. Yeah, there's a difference, Leo. Number one, 30% is not a passing grade. We don't accept 30% pass rate. That's only morons like Andrew Mutshaka. We don't do it. You have to pass 70% to pass minimum grade in American schools. Yeah, it depends on the state. Some states have a examination to graduate high school. It's not a matric, but it's just a graduation thing. I didn't have to do that when I was in high school. I just had to take the certain classes and pass the classes, and then I got my high school diploma. In fact, I got 2. I got one under my Chris Nicholson name, and I got one under my legal name because I went to school as Chris Nicholson. My stepfather's name was Nicholson, my first stepfather, and Chris. So I went to school, and I have a high school diploma known as Chris Nicholson, but that's not my legal name. So anyway, so I have 2 high school diplomas from the same high school. It was pretty cool. My high school said, yes, we'll do it. And they didn't even charge me for it. They gave me 2 high school diplomas. How cool is that? Missed the meet and greet in Vanderbilt Park because we were sick. Sorry about that, Lynette. You're a legend, says Christo. Thank you. My charges will work in the USA. I'm happy with that. Okay. A left type from New York basically kept flaming their opinion on crime in New York and people being sent back. When you now realize what people actually think. Okay, Anna Marie, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know where that's coming from, but if people want to listen to social media and make their opinions and form the decisions, that's their problem. Oh, thank you, Anonymous. Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much for that. Only an issue one time coming back into Canada with a grumpy, ignorant border guard. Never any issues. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, yep. Comment is quite important because the Home Affairs website, steps 1 through 6, is tricky and can mislead people. Gotcha. Thank you, Virtual Western Cape. Janine says, I do enjoy these and appreciate them. I just thought some more info on life and culture would help a lot of people watching here. I do it all the time. Janine. Maybe another session about life in America. Okay? But then I'm just going to be attacked. Well, that's not what life's like in Miami. That's not what life's like in New York. That's not what life's like here. I mean, I've lived all over the country. I'm probably better qualified to answer this question than most Americans. But it doesn't mean I'm going to get 100% correct. Every place is different. My sim was bought from a Pakistani shop, already reca'd. Okay. Do enjoy these. Okay, so I need to delete the message before I get a chance to get it. The airlines have restrictions on the size of power banks. I don't know about that, but you have to carry them on. How does a GED compare with a normal diploma? A GED is a general equivalency degree. It compares 100% with a diploma. It's what you get in lieu. If someone is unable to finish high school for whatever reason, they can take an examination for the general equivalency diploma, which says you've got a high school diploma. So it's the same thing. Didn't finish matric in school, but I got my GED last year. Is a GED well accepted? Yeah, GED is a high school diploma. Please, do you know if we can forward extra baggage from a location we arrive to the placement address by courier, and will it be less expensive? Rudolph, I have no idea what you're asking. You want to send your things from a courier? Will it be less expensive? No, it will not be less expensive. Couriers are outrageously expensive. It costs you a fortune. It's really expensive. So I sent a package that weighed less than a kilo to South Africa with DHL, with some MAGA hats and some pumpkin spice latte sachets from Walmart, Starbucks ones for Ronaldo and a few other people. Cost me $325 for sending less than a kilo. Got there in 2 days, and then the South African criminal corrupt customs demanded more money. They wanted $450 equivalent in rand to pay customs for that. It was just a scam. It took 6 weeks before they could finally get the package because they refused to pay that. No. Courier is outrageously expensive. Light Rain's lived in 11 states, every place but the Midwest. LA is not Our Lady and don't have our hearts in San Francisco. Okay. 100 miles, about 100 white and Indian people at the Home Affairs office, all collecting passports. Wow. People are leaving. Yeah, they're trying to leave. Yep. I brought up the New York comment. Any advice of comfort on how families and couples deal with separation as we now finally realize how left or weird some of our own close family members? Yeah, no, Anime, that's a good point. As I've said repeatedly throughout this process, this will break families. There will be people who refuse to go, and the people who attack you because you want to go. People call you cowards. I'm not encouraging anybody to leave, but those people say that to you are just evil people. I don't care if they're family members or evil people to behave that way. Booking is different site. Okay, Colonel, do you think the number that we get contact from won't be identified as spam by Truecaller? Carlos, I have no idea. I have no idea. If you do think you're worried about that, then disable Truecaller. Okay. I don't know why it would be identified as spam. I don't even know what number they're calling you from. There's multiple numbers at the embassy, and they'll probably be using the embassy when they call you. Or maybe they've picked up SIM cards when they got there. Or they'll use a U.S. SIM card. I don't know. They're not calling me. I don't have an answer, Carlos. It's a good question, but I don't have an answer. Herman made a comment in the interview that they had to pay for luggage on connecting flight to U.S. Is that for excess baggage? That would have been the case, yes. All right, so Ella, that's a good point that Herman mentioned that I've neglected. When you land in America, in their case, it was different. Okay, let me explain why you had to pay for it. Okay, so in your case, it shouldn't be the case. Let me explain. It's a good question. Who said that? Ella? Yeah, Ella Badenhorst. Let me explain why. In the case of the first 59, which Herman was part of, they came on a chartered flight. A wealthy individual in America paid for that flight to bring those people here. He paid for that 767, whatever it was. So that person booked the flight from Texas and paid for that out of pocket so those people could come here. The U.S. government didn't pay for that. That charter flight was to D.C. Done and dusted. They got them in D.C. From there, the State Department or the Homeland Security, whoever did it, they booked their flights onward. Normally, your flight will be booked from South Africa to your ultimate destination. Your bags are checked all the way through. In their case, they collected their bags. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm just going through the process, and Artie can probably confirm this with me because he knows how it works. They collected their bags, so you always have to collect your bags when you land in America, but then they stayed in D.C., at least for a few hours for the photo op and all that stuff, that was done by the undersecretary, whoever the guy was. I never heard of him before. So then their flights were booked onwards from there. That wasn't part of the same flight. So they had to put their stuff on, and whatever airline they went on from, let's say that Herman went to, I'll just say California because I know he didn't go to California. So he went from DC to California. Whatever airline they booked him on has baggage restrictions. It used to be you got 2 bags at 32 kgs, no charge. Then they lowered it to 2 bags at 23 kgs. Now some airlines are charging for 1 bag. You get 1 bag, anything above that you pay excess. Now some are not giving you any bags. So it depends on how the flight was booked, what sort of ticket it was. So it's very real possibility that they had to pay for that because that wasn't part of it. But again, that was exigent circumstances. That was an unusual situation. That isn't the norm. Okay, so just don't get excited about that. Your normal course of events will be you will be booked. Thank you for Colin for the super chat. You will be booked from your point of origin to your point of destination. So your bags will be checked through all the way as a courtesy. So you shouldn't have to pay for that. You shouldn't have to, okay? That's how it should be. Unless for some reason they stop you somewhere and you have a delay and you have a break and it's a different flight book. But that was, I think, in his case, that's why I haven't talked about it. It was an unusual situation. Ella, did I answer your question? New rules for power banks. I haven't seen any new rules, Barbara. I just flew back a few weeks ago. DHL is very expensive to send from South Africa. Cost our company over $2,500 to send a document. Exactly, Janine. Exactly. Yep, ridiculous for a document. You have so much patience. Would love to meet you one day. Nolene, be a pleasure to meet you. Gabi, what's going on? Okay. I need my ID before I can apply for passport. I don't know, Jordash. I don't know South Africa's rules. I should think you need an ID to apply for a passport. I had to have one to get a passport in America, but I used my military ID to get my first one. Ever since then, it's just been a renewal. Had to pay 60% extra for getting my Nintendo game from U.S. Yeah, well, that's because they're thieves. That's not the rate. That's not the rate. They're thieves, Days of Thunder. They're thieves. Have not seen or heard anyone ask about churches. So much for that. Yeah, it's interesting, Chris. No one's asking about church. That was talked about early on, but not for a while. And it says 400 years ago, when people crossed the ocean, it also forever split families, and nobody had social media to keep in touch. They just said goodbye and boarded a boat and never returned. Well said, and well said. Either your life is in jeopardy or it's not. Either your future is at risk or it's not. Either you want to get out or you don't. 30 years ago, nobody had Twitter and WhatsApp and Facebook and social media and browsers or any of this stuff. No one had any of that stuff. Yet somehow people moved from place to place. Somehow refugees came here. Somehow people survived. Somehow people built a new life. Somehow they found a way to reconnect. Well stated, Ann. Well stated. I'm a lecturer teaching online and study online. I will still be able to carry on with that, both when I have to resign. I don't understand what you're saying, Marley. You're telling me you're a lecturer? You're teaching courses and you're studying? I don't know. Where are you studying at? Why would you have to resign from wherever you're studying at? Why can't you continue if it's all online? Marley, I don't understand that one at all. I don't understand what you're getting at. One of my sisters going, other decided to stay, but respects our decisions. Yep. SARS phoned me on Friday. I owe them $11,000. I said, arrest me. They dropped the call. Yeah, it probably wasn't SARS. Probably fraudulent. Francois Puckeater, the finance video you referenced for refugees as what it is titled. Oh, come on, guys. Can't you just do a little basic research and making me do all the work? Simple stuff here. Playlist. Oh, my goodness. Refugee playlist. Let me see it. Okay. Why doesn't it just take me to the playlist? I don't like that. Damn it. I have to go to my channel. See, you guys killing me with this wasting my time stuff. Your channel. Now I have to go to my channel. You can do this. Why do I have to do this? Playlist. South African refugee interviews. South Africa refugee admissions program. See that?
A glance down.
Stop it.
A life
Why
ended.
are you playing?
It's never worth
Why are
it.
you playing a video? I'm not even there. Stop that. Stupid. I can't. It doesn't take me there. That's not what I want. Oh, my goodness. Now, see, this is why. Why can't you guys do things on your own? Asking me to do this stuff. I'm sorry. Just go find it on your own. This is ridiculous. Now other people have to sit here and wait while I come up with this stuff for you guys. Jeez. Playlist. Okay.
They've come to see great.
Stop it. Stupid YouTube. And instead of showing me the playlist, it takes me to a video. What's the purpose of a playlist if it doesn't take me to the list of videos? Anyway, I don't have time for this. So you're going to have to find on your own. You know, I've already told you guys. Let's do it this way in Daba, Africa, okay? It's very frustrating. All right, so here we go. Indab, Africa. There's the playlist. Okay, there you go. Much easier way to find it right here. Right track. Facts analysis, part 2, background checks, and good judgment. Financial resources, part 3. There it is, 21 February. Hello, folks. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. Once again, an update on this refugee situation in South Africa. There is no policy, there is no program promulgated by the Department of State and Homeland Security as of this date, Friday, the 21st of February, 2025. 2 weeks after President Trump issued an executive. All right, so there you go. So here you go. There's a link. This is not hard to do. Why do people make things so much harder than they are? Okay, there you go. So that's it right there. That's the link, okay? Just go to the Indab, Africa. How many times you got to say that? Okay. Sorry, Francois Potgieter, but I mean, that's so much. I just wasted 3 minutes trying to find that. You could have found it yourself. Colin, thank you. 70 rands. You tried to find it, but you couldn't. Francois, I think I understand the problem, man. I just had a hard part in finding it too. That's why I made the Indab Africa Substack list. Please subscribe to my Substack, folks. Please subscribe to the Substack. Francois, I'm not angry at you. I'm just saying it's so. You see what happens when you ask for that? I don't have it handy. You know, I'm in the same boat as you, except I'm doing a million things at once. So there's the Substack. Please go subscribe to the Substack. All the videos are there. It's pretty easy to find. Thank you. All right, Francois. Cool. Quite a sound system you have there. What do you mean? What's your problem with the Shark supporters? We know long-term disappointment. Any problem with Shark supporters, Arctic? Erica was a Shark supporter, then she saw the light. Now she's a Stormer supporter. I don't have a problem with Shark supporters. Christo is just belly aching about the offside of that try that cost the Sharks a try. So I'm giving him a hard time. Any problem with Shark supporters? Please add link to Telegram group. I needed to go on phone. I already did that several times. When it comes to jobs, what's more important? Qualification or experience? Neither. Whole person is more important. I don't interview. I don't hire people for jobs based on their experience or their qualifications. I hire them based on how the interview went and what I believe their abilities are, and then those things contribute to it. So neither one's more important. It's the whole person concept. I've hired a lot of people over the years. Shelley Padlock, your child. What's this? What's this? What? What is Shelley Padlock, and why is son? Okay. If your life's in danger, it's worth it to make it sacrifice to build anything. The point is the program. It's not standard immigration. Yeah, exactly. It's not a visa lottery. It's not immigration. It's a refugee program. Letters via email. That email, it's been a while. Now, Francois Potgieter, hopefully you've got it now. Okay. I think you answered. Okay, cool. All right, guys, it is late for people because we started this late. It is now going to 10:30 in South Africa. We've done this for a while. So this is our second episode of the Kaffee Klatsch for refugees. And so it's a Kaffee Klatsch. You can BS and chat in here if you want. I hope that we've answered your questions as best we can. A lot of good questions came tonight, ones that we hadn't heard before or variations of it. But again, folks, I'm not criticizing people. I'm just saying that if you're looking at this as immigration, you've got the wrong approach. It's not for immigrants. It's for people's lives are in jeopardy, who are at grave risk because of unjust racial discrimination. So there you go. Well, 2 hours and 20 minutes, actually, not 2 hours. It's 2 hours and 23 minutes. Look how fast it goes, Side Offer Connor. Yep. If I'm not sure of a thing, I go back to your videos. There's lots of good information. Thank you, Gerrit Janssen van Rensburg. That's true. Nan McQueen, Colonel, one thing you do not know about Afrikaners is that they can not just walk and leave their firm in the lurch. Leave their firm in the lurch? Leave their firm? Do you mean leave their family in a lurch? They're very responsible. What do you mean you think I don't know that? One thing I don't know. How do you know I do or don't know that, Nan? You're making assumptions based on no basis whatsoever. Auntie Flo, you're very welcome. Always good to hear you speak. Thank you, Miss TT. Jeanette, thank you. All right. So, let's wrap up with, let me get something good in here. What am I going to do with? Hey, what about this one? I'll play this one. This one is, this was done for me by somebody recently, so I'll play this one. This was the Colonel's Ode. Okay, what do you think of this? Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening. God bless.
Another day has arrived, and we are still in the same place of disarray. Hope is in the distance. I can see a tiny glimpse of light, just a tiny, tiny light. It is there, I know it. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance. Tomorrow may not arrive. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance.